Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for your XC1 Pro podium here from the Buckwheat 100.
The Ironman GNCC is back for 2023, and what an incredible race day it is going to be. A championship on the line between Craig DeLong and Stu Baylor for the XC1 title. Of course, Craig coming off the huge win in round number 11. The only rider, as a matter of fact, with 3 wins under his belt. He sits 23 points ahead of Stu Baylor. Obviously, plenty of scenarios today where Craig DeLong is crowned your champion. Quite simply, finishes in front of Stu, it's his. Even if he doesn't finish in front of Stu, some things have to happen for Stu Baylor to be able to capture the championship. Now, if you're Stu Baylor, the job is simple, or at least it's simple on paper. Get out front, grab a win, let the chips fall where they may. What happens, happens. I know this. Craig DeLong, while he is in a great position to wrap up this national championship, Stu Baylor and the boys are going to make him earn it. He's going to have to want it here today. We talked a few rounds ago. Does he have that dog in him? I think, without a doubt, Craig DeLong has got that dog in him. Can he wrap up the title here today? All that and more starts now on Racer TV. The 3-4-2 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of Craig DeLong out of Morgantown, Pennsylvania. The 5-1-4 Stu Baylor will take the win, and more importantly, he will take the points lead into the Buckwheat 100. GNCC Racing! Good afternoon and welcome to round number 12, the season finale for the 2023 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. We're here in Crawfordsville, Indiana for this, the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC, a race for the cure. Well, we're here. A championship is on the line between Craig DeLong and Stu Baylor. Craig DeLong coming off a huge win in round number 11. Stu Baylor with I'm going to call it what it is, an unprecedented a mechanical issue that in 7 years of calling racing, I've seen no other rider, at least at the pro level, have this kind of mechanical that Stu Baylor had in round number 11, a heartbreaker. It was tough to watch. It was frustrating if you were Stu or you're just a fan of racing and wanted to see how things would sort out heading into the last round. But here's the thing. Stu Baylor's got to go out there. He's got to grab a win, and then you let the chips fall where they may. Can he do that? Can he make it happen? Craig DeLong, as we mentioned, hey, plenty of scenarios where he ends up the champion today. He is certainly in that driver's seat and can make it happen in a number of scenarios. So he's just got to go out, do his job. If he can finish in front of Stu, even better. But nonetheless, great racing in store for us here today. It's been a historical season. It took us 8 rounds of racing before we saw our first 2-time winner with 7 different riders capturing overalls this season. And that was 7 in a row. We've never seen anything like it. I don't know that we've seen anything like it in a number of years across any motorsport, at least not to my memory. But nonetheless, a historical season. You're in store for some history here today. Going to be a great one to watch here on Racer TV. We've got a championship on the line in the XC2 class as well. Liam Draper trying to wrap that one up. And I'm going to do a little history lesson here. Earlier this year, it's not that long ago history, but it's still some history. Liam Draper had the win in the bag at the Hoosier GNCC. Got behind some lap traffic, ended up taking a bad line, got stuck. Mike Wachowski comes by for the race win here on this property. Now, it was not a good day if you were Liam Draper, but something was awoken in Liam Draper that day, and he has been a different man since that race. He has just been absolutely unhinged. He's off the rails. The man has been stellar. He's been sensational, and he sits poised to capture that national championship here this weekend. And of course, the FMF XC3, Toby Cleveland, a stellar season by him. Number of guys going to be moving up to the XC3. Number of guys going to move to the XC2, maybe the XC1 Pro class. We've got silly season in full force. Cannot wait to get to the race today. But hey, you know what? You've heard from me. You've heard from the scenarios of the riders and racers and what's at stake here today. But we want to see what we're going to be facing as far as the track is concerned. So for that, throw it to our trail boss, Jared Bolton, for a Yamaha Racing course description.
Well, here we are. We finally came to the final race of the season, and it's a good one. The Ironman GNCC, and nothing beats this place. There's no atmosphere quite like the Ironman. And with that, of course, you got to have a super special racetrack. The track here, you think I'm going to say there's something for everyone, because that's what I say every week. But this is special. The dirt here is probably the best dirt you'll find on the face of the planet. Some may argue that. You know, some people think their backyard's got it, but I think it's right here at the Ironman. And this is a really fun, flowing race course. It's a little bit on the faster side. So the guys that are good at that fast stuff, they're going to really excel here, especially when you get out in the field sections. And you even get a little bit of motocross here. This event itself is beautiful. I mean, you see things here you don't see at any other GNCC. There's people that come and race here that don't race any other GNCC. And you know why? It's because the racetrack is just that much fun. Everybody loves Ironman, and this year, it's going to be a good one. That's this weekend's track description.
Well, thank you for that, Jared. Looks like we've got an incredible racetrack in store for our riders here today. We're going to take a short break. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll be ready to throw the flag here at the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC.
Yamaha YZ450F. Narrower, more compact, and lighter. Built to do one thing: go faster. Flexible financing options offered directly through Yamaha are available. See your local Yamaha dealer today.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us. AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
GNCC Racing on Racer TV is brought to you by Progressive. You could save hundreds on your car insurance. Specialized turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Working very hard. Put your hands together. You did it. Over $10,000. Remember, let's sell 1,000 jars of dirt, and we could have $15,000, according to my West Virginia math. So thank you very much. Thank you, Kayla and Derek, for all your hard the GNCC weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, the Moto heroes are not necessarily the obvious. Our Moto heroes, many of them are over on that line getting ready to be introduced to race Ironman. But the real Moto heroes are the members of our racing community that has protect us from harm's way. Protect our freedoms. They protect our communities. And today we have a real special one. Nominated by his grandson, and many of you know Taylor. Taylor and his grandmother nominated his grandfather. Taylor works for Rocky Mountain ATV. I hope you folks have met him. Incidentally, Rocky Mountain ATV MC has given back, it's almost like $500,000 went back to you folks in those gift cards. So we really appreciate that. But his granddad, Charles, He was in the United States Navy from 1961 to 1966. He was with an attack squadron, the VA-85 unit, until 1965, and he made several short deployments, but one was 11 months long. He was deployed in the Mediterranean Sea. He was stationed on the USS Forrestal and traveled throughout the Straits of Gibraltar, and he had to leave to go to the port of Genoa, Italy, to go in a wartime operations due to the Cuban blockade. They operated 30 days at wartime operations, and on one way back from the Mediterranean, they were buzzed by several Russian Bear bombers. They flew over their ship very close, and they immediately deployed two fighter jets to intercept those bombers. When he retired from the United States Navy, he extended for 4 months due to the Vietnamese conflict, and he was transferred to the 6th Fleet headquarters and put in charge of a top-secret vault as he had top-secret clearance. There are men like this that ensured our freedoms, and although it was in 1966, it continues to be one of those blocks of foundation that we can stand steady on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage put the lid on the 2023 GNCC series. I believe the numbers are not in yet, but I am told the preliminary numbers show that this is the largest Ironman ever. We've exceeded entries, we think, by about 50. So almost 3,000 entries participated at Ironman. As we depart, we'll see some of you at our banquet in December, but we won't see you again until February. Our schedule is coming out soon. We do have an old venue coming back, we believe, one we haven't been to in a little bit, that we'll be back to, and we have a new venue possibly in Tennessee that we will be going to. And so keep an eye on that schedule. The schedule is complicated. The fall is going to be a little bit mixed up from what we're used to. We will be going back to 13 rounds for next year. But as we depart, I want you to pay particular attention to the words of Ricky Towery, because one of the things I miss the most about GNCC when we're done is that I don't get to hear that prayer from Ricky Towery every weekend. So ladies and gentlemen, would you please bow your heads as Ricky Towery gives us our blessing.
Thank you, Tim. Hey, let's go to the Lord and let's have a word of prayer together this afternoon. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for bringing us all together safely. Such a beautiful place, such a beautiful day. Lord, watch over these riders as they go ahead and tackle these woods. Keep them safe. Let them have fun today. Thank you once again for the Shaver family, for letting us use this property to have some fun on. Continue to bless that family. Lord, we do thank you for our military men and women, the ones that serve in today and the ones that served in the past. It's because of them that we're free and we're able to stand out here and have fun together. Thank you for each and every one of them. Lord, we know the holiday seasons are just right around the corner. When Thanksgiving gets here, help us spend some time with our families and be thankful for what you've done for us this year. And then a few weeks later, Christmas will roll around. Help us remember what that's all about. You sent your son to us. He grew up and died on the cross so our sins could be forgiven. We thank you for that and everything else you do for us every day. Lord, we've been coming to this place right here for a long time. There's been a lot of good memories made here. We just ask that maybe this afternoon, there could be a few more made this afternoon. And then as we head down the road and we go home, take us all home safely so one day we will get back together again and have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ricky. That's pretty special. If our XC2 guys could now step to the front line, I'll challenge you this. For the next 1 minute and 26 seconds, listen to the words. Think about Charles Stout and the hundreds of thousands of men and women that have fought for our freedoms. But just listen to the words of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, all right, all right. Light them up, baby. Let's go, Ironman GNCC Racing. Well, with that wrapped up, folks, and if that don't give you cold chills, you better check your pulse. Here we go. Without further ado, you ready, big guy? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce you to the starting row for the XC1 Pro Class, riding to the line in accordance to points. The number 342 out of Morgantown, Pennsylvania, aboard the Rockstar Energy Factory Racing Husqvarna. Craig DeLong. Rolling to the line next, the 514 out of Hodges, South Carolina, on a Rocky Mountain ATV MC Teely Energy KTM, Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line next, the 530 out of Connecticut, on an FMF Red Bull Factory KTM, Ben Kelly. Rolling to the line next, the number 1 out of Livingston, Tennessee, aboard the Magna One Motorsports Husqvarna, Jordan Ashburn. Rolling to the line next, the 212 out of Duval, Washington, aboard the Ampro Yamaha. He's rough, he's rowdy, Ricky Russell. Rolling to the line next, the 314 out of South Carolina, on a Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, the Grizzly Grant Baylor. Rolling to the line next, and fresh off a podium performance, the number 17 in his 17th year of racing here at GNCC, out of Australia, aboard the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, Josh Strang. Rolling to the line next, the 969 out of Boonville, North Carolina, aboard the FMF Red Bull Factory KTM, Johnny Gerard. Rolling to the line next, the 739 out of Morganton, North Carolina, on a Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna, Trevor Bollinger. Rolling to the line next, and welcome back to GNCC, the 206 out of Connecticut, aboard the Gas, Josh Toad. Rolling to the line next, and a big welcome back to this man, the 989 out of Williamstown, West Virginia, on the Coastal Racing Factory Gas, Bad Duval. Rolling to the line next, the 356 out of Canada, on the KTM Canada back ride, Felipe Cheney. Rolling to the line next, the 282 out of Travelers Rest, South Carolina, on the Honda, Mike Witkowski. Rolling to the line next, the 178 out of Denver, North Carolina, on the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, Lyndon Snodgrass. Rolling to the line next, what a sensational start in the XC1 he had a couple of weeks ago. The number 10 out of Dorothy, New Jersey, on an XC gear gas, Ryder Lafferty. And last but certainly not least, a big welcome to GNCC here today, aboard the Yamaha out of Riverview, Florida, Justin Starling. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row for the XC1 Pro class. And as they get their position on the front line, DJ Judd exits the Monster Energy Activation Transport, jumps into the RMAX 1000 Yamaha, and this is where we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the meat. And per usual, it's always the sparkle helmet for me. I love it, Judd. It just really ties the whole look together. By the way, we want to welcome everybody watching at home on RacerTV.com. Welcome to the season finale of the 2023 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. And speaking of national championships, one on the line here today Craig DeLong with the points lead and the advantage, but you know Stu's coming to play and have some fun. How is it going to shape up? One thing we know from this season, nothing is guaranteed. 7 winners in 7 rounds, and here we go now. 1 minute. 1 minute until we're ready to go. Yamaha Racing, Ironman GNCC Racing. XC1 Pro Class locked and loaded as Ricky Towery now will look down at the watch, and we go as he goes. And there it is, folks, the waving of the blue flag. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, as we are just about ready to roll now. And I got to ask you, Ironman GNCC, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? That's pretty good, but by God, it is a beautiful fall day and one of the largest, if not the largest, crowds we've had in the history of GNCC. Let's ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bang, and we're off. And here comes the XC1 class as they jockey for position. It's Craig DeLong out in front with the reverse plate. He wants that championship. What's the 514 got in store for Craig DeLong here today as we reset our attention to the XC2 250 Pro class? Gus Reardon, Zach Osborne, Mason Simmons, Liam Draper, Toby Cleveland, Tyler Palmer, Brody Johnson, Jesse Ansley, Max Erlinson, Grant Davis, Jonathan Johnson, and Cody Barnes. Blue flag waves. We've got them shut down. And here we go with the XC2. Ten seconds. Championship on the line here as well. Bang, they're off. XC2 jockey for position. Oh, a little carnage right there. Ooh, that was close. From my angle, it looked like Cody Barnes. But maybe not. We may have to look at the Racer TV footage on that one. FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. 10 seconds. Drew Calloway, Mitchell Owenby, Jay Snott, Matthew Sims, Dakota DeVore, Sawyer Coraturia, and Jack Walker. Here they come, buzz, buzz. That's the sound of our people right there, baby. Nothing parties like a 125, and that's going to be the 545 with a whole shot and early lead. That is Sawyer Karatura on that Steel City Men's Clinic back ride with a whole shot and early lead, courtesy of Lojacks on the whole shot for that one. 10 seconds. 258. Trevor Maley, Ranger Emmons, Jason Tino, T-Rex, Nick DeFeo, Gavin Simon, Will Stephenpiper, Jason Crawford, Trevor Edwards, Olin Daniels, Rooney Lee, Braden Nolet coming at you. Who wants it? 2, 4, 9. Gavin Simon grabbing that whole shot and early lead for the 258 class. Open A, 10 seconds. 27 riders in total. Dylan De La Cruz, Ezra Prine, Samuel Evans, Jeremy Wallstrom, Russell Smith, Daniel Spurgeon, Hunter Bush, Alex Luger, Chase Colville, Ethan Souter, Braden Cole, Eli Childers. Oh no, taking it right away from him is the 736. Making a grown man move right there for the whole shot. We're here for it. That's what GNCC Racing's all about. 4-stroke A-Lights coming up next. Ryan Piper, Cameron Madison, Huck Jenkins, Caleb Baltimore. 10 seconds. Colton Shields, Lance, the Machine, Machino, Garrett Mundy, Ty Ely, Luke Stefschick, Joshua Connor, Samuel Hinkie, Van Goslin, Holden Allman, Jordan Bees. What up, Jordan Bees? Good to have you out here with us. Bang, he gets it. That's the 276 of Ty Ely. on that Teely Energy Racing KTM. Grabbing a whole shot and early lead as we reset the deck for the Junior A 25 plus. Sam Shaver, Ben Fricks, Mark Semprini, Wesley Schmidt ready to roll. 10 seconds. Thomas Caldwell, Michael Funk. Who's got the funk? Michael's got the funk. Austin Franklin, Justin Leonard, Jason Key, Wyatt Ford, Gregory Funk. Oh, it's the funky bunch out here. Let's do it. Andrew Boggs. Woo, little bobble. 4-7-2. That is Jason Key. Sorry, Austin Woodrum. Jason Key with a whole shot and early lead there. 150A ready to roll. 10 seconds. Caleb Lane, Lane Wynn, Tyler Shields, Jiggs Fustini, Daniel Starnes, David Johnson, Will Peavy, Trevor Foster, Walker Morris, and T.P. Thor Powell. 21 on the machine. That's going to be the 475. That is William Peavy, rider out of Louisiana on that L&L Catering and Dad's Wallet backed ride. I love that sponsor. Also says Mom's Prayers. Dad's Money, Mom's Prayers. 10 seconds. Senior A 40 plus. Joe Marsh, Frank Messina, Eric Kettering, Cody Hosta, Joshua Wyatt, Vinny Tomich, Stephen Meacham, Stan Noonian, John Ostenberger, Steve Ossie. 7-2-4. That's going to be Joel Stoats out of Union City, Pennsylvania. Grabbing that whole shot and early lead right there. And we got a rider down right here in turn number 1. And we've got our medics taking a look at him. And we're going to audible here, folks. Maybe. Our medics are with our down rider. Please hold, wait on Ricky Towery's signal. We've got the machine safely out of the way as we continue to assess what's going on down there. Vet A 30 plus, there we go. Blue flag wave, shut them down, shut them down. Mark Carrasco, Robbie Norwood, 10 seconds. Mike Wendricks, Joseph DeBauer, Daniel Sims, Nick Click, Bradley Kramer, Brandon Cook, Benjamin Schmidt, Shane Kilmick, Ted Mullins, James Bauer, Zachary Sanders. 4-3-9. That is Nick Click out of Owensboro, Kentucky, on that Planet Motor compound-backed Husqvarna. 250B coming up next. Ready to roll. 10 seconds. Ty Atkinson, Robert Weiss, Rivers Morris, Bain Croft, Andrew Adams, Dakota Dees, Marshall Falk. Nope, Michael Falk. Marshall Falk played for the Colts in the 90s. My bad. Logan Johnson, James Jenkins, Jordan Lee, Devin Moore. Here we go. 557 out front. Might have been. That's Robert Wise. That's the 216 on the helmet. Grabbing that whole shot and early lead. Now we're kicking up a little dust. Open B coming up next. 18 riders in total. 10 seconds. Chandler Taylor, Lane Morrison, Arton Shelley, Austin Bratcher, Michael Adam, Nicholas Jorgensen, Cannon Balla, Cameron McCoy, Jeremy Fraley, Preston Barngrover, Jordan Plantner, Tanner Cowart, Colton Kuntz. Here we go. He's got a good drive. That's going to be the 408 on the helmet. That is Cameron McCoy out of Petersburg, Illinois, on that McCoy Racing back drive. Here we go. 4-stroke B lights. 10 seconds. Jonah Jones, Rayleigh Messer, Clayton Robbins, Jacob McPherson, Meatball. Brock Belsol, Peyton Wilds, Colton Waddell, Drew Hoffman, Jack Algier, Bodie Boyle, Keenan Rupp, Brian Thacker, Robert DeLay. 212 out front. Will he get it? He will. 212 on the bike. And the jersey didn't quite catch the helmet number on that one, but he's rolling. He's ripping. Here we go. Junior B, 25 plus. 10 seconds. William Culbertson, Jacob Staten, Ryan Bierman, Tate Gutierrez, Tyler Spitzrira, James Miller, Devin Hall, Colin Fairs, Leroy Petrie, Ty Roberts, Doug Hughes, Douglas Randolph, Dylan Davis. Oh, look at the drive right there by the 413. And it's going to be 413 on the helmet. That's Devin Hall out of Huntington, West by God, Virginia. Grabbing that hole shot and early lead. Doing it for almost heaven. We're here for it, baby. 10 seconds. 150B, Brady Beerbaum, Jaden Schlegel, Nico Pursuti, Charlie Watson, Gavin Hampton, Briar Menace, Noah McGraw, Landon Hampton, Derek Randolph, Arson Brower, and James Meek. Around turn number 1 they go. Jockey for position, the 975 out front. That's going to be James Meek on that Veteran Family Racing back KTM out of Indianapolis with a hole shot and early lead there. Here we go, Senior B, 40 plus, 10 seconds. Jason Cottrell, Ben Norrell, Jeremy Way, Jimmy Bechter, Josh Howard, Jason Frecker, and Aaron McAfee. Here we go. Oh, side by side we go. 7:29. Jason Frecker edging him out on the inside. Inside line paying off for him. Vet B 30 plus. 10 seconds. Darren Fresco, Scott Hopper, Ryan Tucker, Zachary Taylor, Ryan Persinger, Evan Riddle, Mark Maines, Justin Dennis, Dwayne Joliffe, Joseph Ward, Daniel Zortman, Chet Ford. Let's go. Here we go. 4-4-8. Corey King on the Yamaha to Fairview, West Virginia. Let's look over that starting line. I think all of our riders are off. You are free to move about the country, folks. Let that track sweep get by. Don't cross that track there in turn 2 or 3. And that is going to wrap things up for us here for a moment down on the start. We'll take a short break, get a word in from our sponsors, and we'll have more. And we'll crown a champion here today at the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Kinetic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Kinetic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Kinetic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Kinetic. Kinetic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
Amsoil runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
GNCC Racing on Racer TV is brought to you by Progressive. You could save hundreds on your car insurance. Specialized turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2023 Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC. This is round number 12, the final round of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. My name is Jackson Burrow, and I'm alongside Zach Herron to bring you today's action. Stay tuned as Zach will be breaking down the start of this race here shortly.
Thanks, Jackson. Yeah, what a great weekend of racing we have had out here in beautiful Indiana. Getting a great shot there to start off the show. Just how pretty the scenery is. But take a look now at how this thing is going to start off. 3 hours of racing commencing. We're going to take a look at the Specialized start recap, starting off with your XC1 class. Now, obviously, the championship battle is between two riders, Stu Baylor and Craig DeLong. And what better way to try to seal the deal on a championship than to grab a whole shot? There is the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, Craig DeLong, doing exactly what he needed to do. About midway through the pack, he's in all black gear. You can see Stu Baylor sitting about 5 or 6 positions back, but by the time they get through these switchbacks, and currently sitting side by side with Ricky Russell there. But look at there, Craig DeLong taking a look over the shoulder, wanting to see who's behind him. I believe that was actually Josh Strang shuffling his way into the second place spot, but the work is cut out for Stu Baylor, already down a 22-point deficit. Now taking a look at the XC2 class, it's the Phoenix Racing Honda running the pink and black scheme this weekend, and Cody Barnes on the number 99 holding it wide open. We weren't sure if he was going to be able to do it. He's able to hang on for it. It is the Phoenix Racing Honda of Cody Barnes grabbing the whole shot and early lead there in your XC2 class. And we talk about how beneficial a good start is. There is Liam Draper on the Ampro Yamaha, sitting about third there in that last camera shot in your XC2 class as well. Now taking a look at the XC3 125 Pro-Am class. They're off and rolling, one of the sweetest sounding and smelling classes we've got out here at GNCC. It was an all-out battle, a little bit of Rubbins racing action going on there, but it's going to be the 545 of Sawyer Caratura taking advantage of it and taking control of the early race lead, grabbing the whole shot there in your XC3 class. So Caratura doing exactly what he was wanting to do, getting out early and going to try to maintain this race from the front. That is your Specialized start recap. Now I believe we're going to be pulling up. Looks like that is one of your front runners up on screen. That's Craig DeLong. So this is some replays of what we've missed while the start was going on there. We did see it was Craig DeLong still out front. I believe that was Jordan Ashburn up in the mix as well, along with Josh Strang. We'll see how those positions have shuffled around here momentarily. But there you see a majority of your XC1 field making their way down and through Ironman Hole. Looking like that might be Zach Osborne getting a little hung up. Possibly Starling as well. That's what I was just about to say. Pro motocross and supercross racer Justin Starling making his debut out here as well. There we saw the number 1 taking over the lead. So it sounds like Jordan Ashburn has made some moves on the Magna 1 Husky. It's Craig DeLong in second, Josh Strang third. Believe that was Bollinger fourth. And then I see the Moose race here. I believe Ricky Russell might have been in there somewhere as well. Taking a look now. This is dropping at the FMF PowerPoint. And try to see how exactly everything has shuffled around. It does look like it was that number 1, your 2022 champion of Jordan Ashburn, trying to end his season on a high note as well. We take a look at the Yamaha Racing track map. And Jackson, one of the things we've heard so much throughout this weekend, this is a higher speed course out here at Ironman.
Yeah, everybody's been saying it is a higher speed course. And one thing to note about today, after such a muddy year, the track conditions are looking great out here today for these riders to go head to head here at the final round.
Absolutely.
talking to one of our track bosses or trail bosses, Jared Bolton, a little bit earlier. He said this is pretty much the best condition you can ask for. You're not worried about dust. You're not worried about the mud. You're worried about the rider in front of you, the rider behind you, trying to go as fast as you can over the course of 3 hours. So going to make for a great day of racing. But let's talk about this 2023 Progressive GNCC season. Here you've got your points map. Pick your favorite rider on the side. Pick your least favorite rider. Whoever you want to do, you can follow exactly how their 2023 season has gone. It's been a bit of a three-rider battle all the way through the season. Ben Kelly on the Red Bull KTM, Craig DeLong on the Rockstar Husky, and Stu Baylor on the Rocky Mountain ATV-MC Teely Energy KTM have brought this thing all the way down to the wire at our last round. We thought that was going to be the head-to-head battle we were looking for. Unfortunately, Stu having some bad luck. Now we're going to go through our top 5 moments on the bike side. Oh, sounds like we might be doing that later. Psych, they're psyching me out up here. Adam Gordon keeping me on my toes. And it looks like we've got a live look back on screen, trying to figure out exactly who's out front. At our last camera shot, it looked like it was the number 1 of Jordan Ashburn on the Magna 1 Husqvarna, trying to end this season with a statement and put the number 1 in position number 1 for the finale of the season. So a great start there for Jordan Ashburn.
Yeah, Jordan Ashburn coming out firing here at round number 12. He wants to leave here on a high note, but man, Craig DeLong, he is fired up and ready to get this championship. And on screen, I believe you can see Craig there in the number 2 spot. So Craig DeLong has put himself in a great position here at the beginning of this race.
Doing some high altitude speculation here, but it looked like it was going to be Jordan Ashburn followed by Craig DeLong. I believe that was still straying in the 3rd place spot with Ricky Russell in 4th. From there, we kind of lost sight of the back ends of the jersey. Wasn't quite able to make out the numbers or the colors of the bike, but it looks like we've got 2 Huskies up front leading the way, with Josh Strang once again really coming to life here at the end of the season. Josh, you never count that guy out. Obviously, he's been there, done that, former race winner, former race champion, and he clearly knows how to get the job done here in 2023 still as well. So we will wait to try to get a little closer look as to the action on track there in your XC1 class. I mean, this is what you want, Jackson. We had quite a season, so many different riders. Like we said, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but you wanted this thing to come all the way down to the wire, all the way down to that last race, and that's exactly what we've had today.
Yep, and not only in the XC1, but the XC2 as well. The points battle is very much alive and well there in the XC2, so we'll see how that is going to play out here today. Welcome to the booth, Johnny G. Johnny, what did you see out there?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Can you guys hear me? Because I cannot.
Check. I don't have Johnny on the microphone here. Trying to get some technical difficulties figured out. Johnny was out in the field trying to get a first-hand look at the start, see the way things were going. And on screen, as we continue to watch the Yamaha live drone, we are waiting on your leaders to stop by. And we will try to join back in here shortly. It was, like we said, the number 1. Oh, look at that.
All right, there we go. We got it now. Sorry about that, guys. Little technical difficulties.
My plan didn't work. Anyway.
No, obviously, you guys went over the start recaps there, and a lot of things waiting on these opening laps, and obviously the whole race. We've got a couple of championships on the line. Both of our championship favorites and all the contenders off the line and underway. Obviously, if you're Craig DeLong, the idea is what you got to do in the points, but what better way to make a statement than just to grab that whole shot and begin to ride off with it? Obviously, he has been overtaken by another man with something to prove. We've already talked about it. Our defending series champion from 2022, Jordan Ashburn, out there on the number 1 machine. But look at these guys, man. Talk about close racing. I mean, you can't slip a piece of paper between these guys. They are all jockeying for position, and right now Jordan Ashburn leading the way, but Craig DeLong sitting in a great spot there in the number 2 spot. He is ahead of his championship rival. It is down to a mano-a-mano 2-rider battle between Craig DeLong and Stu Baylor. They are the only 2 left with a mathematical shot left at this. And, yeah, man, a lot of riders on that XC1 line wanting something to prove today. Thad Duvall returning to action, maybe wanting to give a serve notice to some of the teams out there saying, hey, man, I can still do this. Hook me up with the ride for 2024. I want to keep going. A lot of guys' rides not finalized, so a lot on the line here today.
Yeah, we talk about the silly season kind of going on. Obviously, the final round of the 2023 season. So some riders looking for a fresh start in 2024. Some riders trying to show, hey, I am worth continuing to support in 2024, wanting to stay on the same ride. So we talked about it all day, all weekend, really. So many different storylines, whether you're a championship contender, whether you're somebody that's had a really tough start of the year that's trying to end the season on a high note. We say it all the time. You're only as good as your last race. This race and the final race before the summer break, you got the longest break to try to run off the highs or the lows off of your last performance. So right now, Jordan Ashburn trying to end these things on a high note. But I was curious to see what kind of Craig DeLong we were going to get today. Yep, I wasn't sure whether he was going to come out firing as hard as he can. Obviously, he's got a little bit of a points buffer, but I think you hit the nail on the head, Johnny. He's got a point to prove as well.
Well, and there's also the school of thought of, you don't want to just go out there and ride around for, mathematically speaking, just so everyone at home knows, Stu Baylor wins this thing. Craig DeLong needs I believe it's a 12th place or 13th place to wrap it up. I think it's 13th. But regardless, when you're used to pushing the pace, it's hard. It may sound silly to say, it's hard to go out and just ride around without making mistakes. And not to mention, there's a lot of fast guys out there, and you just go and ride around. Suddenly you find yourself back. We may be joined later in the show by Walker Fowler, and he talked about his first championship in 2015 coming in here at Ironman, needed an 11th place finish, rode around in 12th for the first hour of the race. And it wasn't that he was riding around. He said he just couldn't figure anything out. He was doing donuts at the bottom of Ironman Hill. Like, his brain was just not computing, not calculating, not working properly. Craig DeLong, easiest thing to do, get up front, run the pace. Your muscle memory and your race brain is going to take over, and you're not thinking about championship. You're just thinking about ride your dirt bike, go fast, and honestly, that may be the best move for Craig right now. And like you said, Josh Strang up there in the third spot. How about this guy? It's not one of those things where we weren't talking about him last race because he wasn't in a podium position. He wasn't there. I mean, he was lurking all day, and we'd mentioned him. All of a sudden, in the final miles of the last lap, this guy just pours it on. Old man strength, comes charging through the pack, making passes, and very nearly wrestled away the number 2 spot at the end there, but ended up in third there on the podium.
Absolutely, the Wiley vet, professional number 17 on his 17th year out here. And, yeah, like you said, he wasn't necessarily in the fight, in the mix right off the bat, but just kind of slowly lurking back there, waiting for the proper time to strike. And then as soon as he got the word, whatever it was, 2-lap card, white flag, he dropped the hammer and was able to bring it all the way down to the wire. As now we see our leaders making their way through Pro Road for the first time and really having to get on the binders there at the end of that straightaway. And
running order still looks to be much the same. That is the number 1 Magna 1 Motorsports Husqvarna of Jordan Ashburn out front, following very closely behind the 342 of Craig DeLong. And Josh Strang starting to look a little racy there, showing Craig DeLong a wheel. So it looks like maybe the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki of Josh Strang wanting to get to that point position and lead a lap, which I don't believe he's done so far here yet in the 2023 race season.
Taking a look just outside your top 3, that is Ricky Russell on the Pro Yamaha, trying to get an ID on that 5th place runner. I believe it's one of the Red Bull KTM riders. Like we said, several riders making their return to racing. Thad Duvall aboard the gas machine. Great to have him back out here. I believe Josh Toth, I think I saw riding towards the line at some point today as well. And so it would be great to see him back out here for this finale of the 2023 season. Been a historic year, and talk about historic, a historic turnout here this weekend. I mean, Jackson, it's the finale of our first season. I guess we're no longer new guys, but man, they've been telling us all year long, just wait until Ironman. Just wait till you see Ironman. I understand what they mean now. The fans have shown up, and it has been a great weekend.
Yeah, Ironman has not disappointed. Quite the attendance we have here at the Ironman. And, Zach, my only thing that's going through my head is, where is Stu Baylor here in this one?
Well, Stu Baylor, he is in the all-black gear, kind of running a little bit of a holographic design. And so it sounds like Stu might be just on that top 5 bubble, either 5th, pushing back. We saw a couple of positions shuffling around. But Stu, if you watch that start replay, it looked like Ashburn actually got stood up a little bit on the inside and kind of leaned off. It ended up pushing Stu Baylor wide. Now we're getting a look. There is the number 1, the 342 in 2nd, the 17 in 3rd. There is Ricky Russell. Believe that was Ben Kelly, and I think that is Stu Baylor behind Ben Kelly. So that should be Stu right there in the final spot of the top 5. There we saw the 178 of Lyndon Snodgrass also moving up to the XC1 class as well. And taking a look here, there is Josh Toth. So I knew I wasn't going crazy. I thought I saw the 206 off and rolling. Great to see Josh out here racing with us as well. And, man, just beautiful open shots here from the Yamaha Live drone here at the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC. And right now, this is the Jordan Ashburn we were kind of expecting to see a lot of the season. Jordan had his difficulties, had some issues, but has been in there, obviously grabbing a win earlier in the season, and he's trying to show that that was no fluke. He's still a top dog and somebody you don't need to forget about here in the XC1 class.
Exactly. Like we've been saying, everybody wanted to end this 2023 season, go into 2024 with a win under their belt at the last round. A great drone shot we have here of them going through the fields.
Absolutely, and really gives you an idea of just how much speed these guys are carrying through the wide open sections. Like we said, looking at that Yamaha track map, a fast course out here today. Some riders really seem to favor it as, looks like one of the Red Bull KTMs trying to make a move. Ben Kelly starting to put the pressure on the back of Ricky Russell because he knows behind him is Stu Baylor. Trying to catch a glimpse of who that was behind Stu Baylor. It actually
I believe it's one of the Phoenix Hondas.
Yeah, it looked like one of the Phoenix Hondas out there. Phoenix running a different paint scheme, different color scheme with us this weekend, running the pink and black look along with that pink Moose Racing gear. Really, really going all out here for the breast cancer awareness. Oh, so we're getting word. It sounds like Mike Wachowski has moved up to XC1, so that would make sense. All right, so Wachowski having a great debut as well, getting up in the mix. And so be very excited to see what he's been able to do, Jackson. And that's one of the things we love about the end of the season. We've started to see a couple of riders moving up to the XC1 class. Ryder Lafferty at our last round had an extremely solid run. Lyndon Snodgrass, he moves up to the XC1 class as well. So excited to see the newcomers in the XC1 dipping their toes in the water, getting a taste for 2024.
And being able to show a toe or two to some of these current XC1 riders. They have had some good showings here in the XC1 class.
Yeah, guys, you know, it's a big jump coming from that XC2 class, and when you move up into XC1, it's funny because a lot of times it'll go one of two ways. It'll go epic good or epic bad. In the case of Ryder Lafferty just 2 weeks ago, obviously running in a second place position, just a few miles to go, actually showing his training partner Craig DeLong a wheel a few times in the final miles, and then having that crash, and the kind of secondhand information I got after the fact was the front brake lever was bent down or broken off. He was unable to get to the front brakes, and things just started happening real fast. He wanted to hang on to a podium position, went down again, and then it was just downhill from there. But still rounding out, you know, in a solid top 10 finish, and that is nothing to shake a stick at in that XC1 class for sure.
Absolutely, and so excited to see how the rest of our XC1 newcomers are going to feed out. You saw the fans gathering up on the bridge, everybody trying to get their favorite spot and get a glimpse of their favorite riders making their way around here at Ironman. I'm going to take a look at some of our other riders. Oh, this is still your lead pack. Okay, so that is Ashburn up front, followed by Craig DeLong. And Craig closing that gap up pretty significantly there at the end of that open section, Johnny.
Yeah, and it looks like they've now actually opened up a bit of a gap over Josh Strang, who, as we mentioned, was starting to show Craig DeLong a wheel just a mile or so ago. So you got to wonder, did Craig DeLong say, hey, man, you know, the best way for me to win this championship is to win the race and really start pushing the pace? Could Josh Strang have made a mistake? You know, anything is possible. They're all still very close and within sight of each other. But, yeah, this is going to be an exciting one, I believe, from start to finish today. We're going to see a lot of fireworks, you know, blows thrown. And ultimately, I mean, we've talked a lot about Craig DeLong. Stu Baylor sitting back there in that 5th place spot. For him to even keep himself mathematically alive, it's simple for him. He needs to get to the front. He needs to get out front. He needs to get that win. And if he does that, that's all he can do. You know, don't anticipate really anything other than full effort from Stu today for him to go out there and try and avenge, obviously, a very disappointing round 11 in the series where we saw him have that mechanical issue and drop outside the top 20, ultimately clamoring back to gather a few points and salvage his hopes for this championship. But at this point, win. That's what he needs to do. And, you know, if you're Stu Baylor, it's not just about winning to keep the championship alive. It's winning to win. You want to close out the season with the win. And Stu's a rider that seems to get stronger as the race goes on typically. So sitting back there in that 5th place spot is actually a pretty good spot for Stu early in the race. I think being able to see inside of the leaders, he'll kind of warm himself up. And I fully expect to see a Stu Baylor charge come very soon here.
Another rider we're kind of used to seeing steamroll as the race goes on. Jordan Ashburn, not the first to come to mind to me, at least as far as sprint speed right off the bat, but he is holding strong and setting a high pace early here in this race.
Yeah, it's funny. Jordan's a rider that has had multiple different kind of MOs as a racer. There once was a time where he was the hole shot guy when he was on that Ampro Yamaha. He would grab nearly every hole shot and lead multiple laps at the beginning of the races, but back then he would never close it out for the win. Something would happen, Caleb Russell would clip him at the line, somebody else would get him, he'd make a mistake, whatever it may be, and then ultimately, you know, the discussion going into last season was, would Jordan Ashburn be the first guy to win a GNCC title without actually having ever won a race? Obviously, he's put that to bed. He's won races now. Look at this. This is interesting. I told you, yesterday everybody was favoring that left line on the ATVs, whereas today it seems everybody's favoring that right line. Interesting how monkey see, monkey do. It's like, okay, this guy's going this way. It's an option line. They have the option to go either way. Obviously, the bike riders are able to get over those logs with a little more speed, a little bit of extra suspension travel, whereas a quad is going to kind of pop you up more, almost bring you to a stop. So maybe that is the difference there.
Yeah, Johnny, we both kind of pointed at the screen at the same time. I found that peculiar as well, and didn't see a single rider in that shot take the alternate line, just as we saw yesterday. Seemed like the one line, whoever was in front of me, whatever they took, that's kind of what I'm following. Hopefully, before the end of this race, I'd like to see a live shot of a rider on each line to kind of see how one favors.
I think the issue right now, why it's monkey see, monkey do and follow, is they're all so close together. You don't want to take the risk. If everybody's taking that one line to the right, and if you've pedaled it and you believe it's the faster line, if you take that left line, you could lose, as close as they are together, 1, 2, 3 spots just by taking an experimental line. Whereas once this race sorts itself out, you see these guys a lot of times in a section like that coming in, take a look over their shoulder, see how much of a gap they have. Maybe they have a 10, 12 bike length gap over the guy behind them. They're more willing to take that risk, take the alternate line for the chance to pass. If it doesn't pan out, they can kind of catch back up in the next couple sections.
Now, Johnny, as we saw there, your riders catching a little bit of airtime, absolutely sending it coming out of these sections, and you can see how high speed they are here. What do you think as far as the suspension setups for this round as compared to some of the other ones? Are they running a little stiffer setup with how fast they're going in these field sections, or how do you think it compares?
It's funny. I was talking to some of the ATV guys yesterday, and as you heard in the interviews after the race, a lot of guys were expecting, with the moisture that we had in the ground, that it was going to be big holes, and it was going to be a really rough, deep track. So they went with stiffer suspension settings to accommodate for those larger bumps. Heard Walker Fowler say it and a few others after the race. Hey, man, I missed my setup. I was really stiff because there was a lot of chatter. This dirt here at Crawfordsville and Ironman, it's Indiana dirt. It's some of the best dirt in the country. It just absorbed all that moisture like a sponge. We talked about before just how dry it had been leading into this. So I think most of these guys are probably going to be going with a little bit stiffer suspension setting today. It's going to pay off in the deeper stuff, but the braking bumps and the roots, they're going to be getting bounced around a little bit more, so it's always a gamble.
And that's a good point as you bring up talking about the roots. I was able to do a little walking around in one of our amateur races this morning, and that's what kind of caught me off guard. The soil not really deteriorating a ton, but a ton of exposed roots up there really wreaking havoc in some of those tighter corners.
Yeah, absolutely. This place has been raced a ton. We do only come here twice a year, but when you get that moisture in the soil, it's more likely that the dirt will erode when you start eating at it, and that's what we're seeing so much up here today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, it's the Magna 1 Husqvarna, the #1 of Jordan Ashburn, leading the way with your points leader, Craig DeLong, sitting just behind him. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes to close out the 2023 season. This is the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using Arma. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. Especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. We're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Canati Tires.
So here we are, the final round of the 2023 Progressive GNCC Racing Series. And what better way to close off the season than with some Progressive skee ball. We've got athletes from all over the country, truly the best of the best, been lining up all day long, dipping in the Halloween candy, getting fueled up, and they are just now starting to close down the skee ball. I believe 300, which might be a perfect score, was the score to beat. As you can see behind me, we've got the best of the best when it comes to skee ball athletes here at the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC. Look at the technique, the ball flying effortlessly into the holes. The overall goal, try to beat the high score. You're playing for prizes they don't yet know. We've got our one athlete, he's rocking the Crocs. Oh, it's the final ball up. Let's see what the score is gonna be. And as you can see, some more happy campers coming out. Wave to the camera, guys, wave to the camera. That's what it's all about. A great way to end the season out here in 2023. Man, what a great time. Look at all we had going on out here. The Halloween costume contest. They were trick-or-treating. I mean, we saw everybody from Pennywise. Look, I believe that might be Ironman. The Grinch, before he steals Christmas, he goes to Ironman GNCC. That's what's up. We got the Walker Fowler Racing fans, young and old there, clearly. And everybody trying to get their hands on the candy. T-Rex, they're not extinct. They're just at the race. There's the Queen Bee herself, Carrie Jo, having a great time at the Monster Energy Concert Series. And look at that. The racers enjoying it as well. Everybody wants to sing along to Parmalee.
And we've been having a great weekend here. And back on screen, you see the big #1, Jordan Ashburn, making his way through the woods. Man, he has been able to put a little bit of time between him and Craig DeLong. They're playing yo-yo.
Yeah, he's put a little bit of time, but he's going to need a little bit more than that if he wants to allow your points leader to stop putting the pressure on. Look at how much that group has closed up there. Josh Strang now starting to kind of work his way back into the clutches of Ricky Russell there in the 4th place spot, with Ben Kelly knocking on the door in 5th, and then Stu Baylor just behind in 6th place.
Grant Baylor coming around on his Kawasaki. But, yeah, Stu Baylor caught up to that group of riders. This might be the charge that Johnny was talking about.
Well, and Johnny, you talked about it. You know, Stu kind of is almost a diesel, right? He's got to get warmed up, and he gets moving forward. That's what we thought we were about to see happen at the last round before, obviously, tragedy struck. But as far as in these conditions, he's got to go. I don't know if he's got the time to really warm up. He needed to be, you know, doing some push-ups or something on the start line. He needs to be warmed up because he's got to start making some moves quick.
Real quick on screen there, welcome back to Josh Toler. The 206 machine out there wing-dinging it on
Absolutely.
the two-stroke machine, not running the full series. Obviously a multi-year competitor here in this XC1, former XC2 champion. Just good to have him back. He's been doing kind of the Ryan Sipes thing this year, hitting different events, doing some hill climbs, doing some hard enduro, kind of really all over the map. But whoa, look at this, folks. It is heating up, and look at this. Around the outside, is that Ben Kelly?
Wow.
That was. Where did Ben Kelly come
he came
from?
Out of nowhere and just blew Craig DeLong's doors off around the outside like a couple of trailer park girls around the outside. Absolutely just out of nowhere, and now he's putting pressure on Jordan Ashburn. So we definitely, I don't know if we got an interview with Ben Kelly. You know, I spoke with him a little bit personally, but, you know, just wasn't feeling comfy at the last round, and said, hey, man, I need to find some comfort. It looks like he's found it.
I'm telling you what, just in that one camera shot, he had gotten around the 212 of Ricky Russell and blown around Craig DeLong. Now he's knocking on the door.
Josh Strang as well.
Absolutely, yeah, he is.
Look who's sitting in 4th now.
Yep.
I think Stu Baylor, his race IQ is off the charts. I think he's seen Ben Kelly put that push in, and he knows that's a dangerous man that you do not need to let get away. Knowing he needs the win today, sudden sense of urgency. And to your point earlier, Jackson, you pointed out, Stu kind of seemed to just be sitting back there. No reason not to. If you can see the leaders and they're not going anywhere, and you're not quite warmed up and comfortable yet, once somebody makes that move, it kind of everybody gets up on the balls of their feet and starts charging. And Stu, wisely, kind of letting that race develop. Suddenly now, Ben Kelly pulling the trigger, and everybody's trying to find an answer for it, except Jordan Ashburn. He's still leading, but we'll see how this one develops for sure.
I'm telling you what, I don't know exactly what the distance was between those two camera shots, but a lot of real estate had to have been made up, and that clearly shows plenty of passing opportunities out here on this course as well. We talked about how high speed it is, but that's another thing I've heard a lot of different lines, a lot of different opportunities to make passes here at Ironman, which should make for some great racing. Josh kind of there in no man's land, nobody right in front of him, nobody right behind. Kind of a tough spot to be in. It's hard to judge that pace when you're in the middle.
That right there is a great illustration of just how hard it is to step away from GNCC racing and come back and put yourself back in the mix. I mean, Josh has been racing, he's been riding. Granted, he's on maybe not the most desired machine for this, a great dirt bike, that 300 two-stroke, but it's more known for its prowess in maybe national enduro or definitely in like a hard enduro. But he's just out here having fun. But he did tell me, he said, hey man, I'm here having fun, but I want to shake things up, I want to get in the mix. So maybe he can get comfortable here in the coming laps and get back up with this lead group. But right there, as you pointed out, kind of in no man's land, looks like that is
Gus Reardon, I believe.
Gus Reardon there. There is Liam Draper. So there is your championship battle on screen. Looks like the 922 of Grant Davis there. So a couple of Trail Jesters KTMs up in the mix there, along with Liam Draper. A little bit uncomfortable position if you're Liam Draper, because you're basically surrounded by your title combatants teammates, but all these guys are friends off the track. Nothing shady going down, but still, that's a whole sea of orange surrounding that one blue fender, and he's got to feel like he's in enemy territory at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. Kind of riding on pins and needles right there, chasing after the back of Reardon. But Draper in a good spot at the moment. I believe that might have been Barnes just behind him on the Phoenix Honda. Kind of hard to tell with that new paint scheme. Keeping us on our toes here at the final round. But I believe this is your lead group once again. And Ben Kelly continuing to push the pace and try to apply pressure to the back of the number one. Kind of looked like Craig had locked back in behind him. Going to try to hitch a ride and pace off of the back of the Red Bull KTM.
Yeah, I expect to see Jordan Ashburn be very, very stingy with the lead here. He worked hard to get it. He's going to want to keep it. Jordan's not a rider that likes to chase other riders. He likes to lead. When he gets that lead, he's very hard to pass, and rightfully so. When you're in that point position, there's no reason for you to give it up. You don't want to be eating roost off the guy in front of you. Some tracks, it's definitely easier to follow. This, I don't really think is one of those tracks. I think to be out front, clean air, it is a mental and a physical advantage. But, yeah, this is all tightening back up, seeming like it was starting to stretch out. Looked like that last rider on screen there, not last rider, but last rider of that lead group, Stu Baylor, as you pointed out, Jackson, looks like he's also lit the wick, and these guys are starting to push the pace.
Curious what was going on there. I wasn't quite sure. It looked like Ricky Russell had maybe lost a couple of spots there, dropped back to the bottom side of the top five. See if we can catch a glimpse here. There is the number one with Ben Kelly. I mean, they're on the bridge at the same time. He's so close. There is Craig DeLong, Strang, so Baylor. There is Ricky Russell, followed by Johnny Gerard now starting to make some moves as well. There's Mike Wachowski. Thad Duval, followed by Grant Baylor, and Thad Duval making his return to racing as well, something worth noting. And be curious to see how he's going to go as the race goes on. Obviously, feeling good, clearly knows what he's doing out there, but 3 hours of racing is a hard thing to jump right back into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and very limited time on the bike from what I know. He's been doing a little bit of riding here and there, but had that broken back, had some other injuries to go along with it. And I do know, if you follow him on social media, won a big GP up in the Ohio area last weekend. There was some stiff competition there, and I think it kind of reinvigorated him, get a little bit of fire, and he said it felt good to win. It may not be a GNCC, but hey, man, I won something, and that's a start. A little bit of confidence with a guy like Thad Duval can go a long way. Not to speculate, it would be tough to see him kind of get up in the mix and hold it for the full 3 hours, but hey, man, grit will go a long way, and Thad Duval does have that.
He's looking good for now. He's been able to gain another spot against Baylor there since the completion of lap number one.
Yeah, and Grant Baylor, not an easy one to pass. And Grant, we haven't really talked about him a whole lot here lately, but, the Grizzly, Grant Baylor, gets tougher as the races go on. His MO, kind of what he was known for over the years was that third hour. It was Stu and Grant both that would really pour it on it, even Grant more so than Stu. GNCC racing, like all forms of motorsports and sport, evolve over time, but there was oftentimes many races where Grant Baylor would be back outside the top 10, even outside the top 15, and suddenly on the last lap, we're talking about him battling for a podium or getting up near a win. He was just so fast at the end of the races, which is a complete opposite of what he does best as a multi-time national enduro champ, where it's blind trail, sprint. So here it seems like he warms up to the trail more, and as the race goes on, he gets faster. We'll see if he can do that here today, but in my opinion, Grant Baylor is a dangerous man. If he can keep the lead group in sight for the first hour, he's always strong that second 2 hours.
Another rider worth noting, he's been here basically the whole year, but having to step out at the last round. Johnny Gerard coming down with an illness just before the race, and saw him this weekend walking around. I think he had the little one all dressed up doing some Halloween trick-or-treating, and I said, "We feeling good?" He said, "We're feeling real good." So glad to see the 969 back out and running, and he was starting to knock on the door of a top 5 as well.
Yeah, and last race, that was a super last-minute thing. He was signed up, he was here, bike was ready, and all of a sudden, Sunday morning on race day, I saw his bike on the tailgate of the team hauler, and the word was he was sick. What it came to be was actually he had some blisters, fever blisters from an illness he had, gotten, and so he was in pretty bad shape. Not necessarily illness, but just like couldn't have held onto the bike. He had blisters on his hands, and it was a pretty intense illness he was dealing with. So good to see him back at full strength and out there battling.
Absolutely. Now looking at your top 2, starting to inch away, and it is now Josh Strang making the pass into the third place spot on that Babbitt's Online Kawasaki, and he is chasing after the back of Ben Kelly, and it looks like
Stu is going to be able to get her.
Yep, here we go. This is the battle at the top of the screen, your championship contenders, and I do not expect a lot of fight from Craig DeLong right here.
I don't expect a lot of fight, but what I wouldn't be surprised to see is just to see Craig kind of mark Stu and just say, okay, I'm going to go with him. I know what the points is. Like we said, Craig just needs to race the race, but at the same time, he wants to be able to see Stu to know if Stu gets to the lead, that tells him the math of what he needs to do. Yes, he has his crew. They're going to give him pit boards, but nonetheless, when you could see it yourself, Craig's a smart guy. He can do some math on the dirt bike, but this is one thing, add a little drama. That's our job here. Craig DeLong leading this one early, now dropping back to that 5th place spot. And this is where, hypothetically, the wheels could fall off the bus. When you start dropping backwards, it's easy to suddenly feel pressure from guys behind you. You ride tight. I don't expect to see that from Craig. I believe he's prepared for this. But, one thing we don't know, he's never been in this situation before, in the position he's in. Yes, he's had the championship on the line late in the season last year, but it wasn't the final round. It wasn't an XC1 title when he did battle down to the final round for XC2. So this is a new, kind of uncharted territory for Craig DeLong.
Well, if his new strategy becomes to latch on to Baylor there, I think that'll be a good strategy going into this race. He knows he has enough points if he can stay right there with Stu, like you were saying.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see whether or not he just tries to ride right behind Baylor. If he's able to keep the pace, and even if not, as long as he's able to know Stu's only a couple of spots ahead of him, everything like that. Curious whether or not, I mean, obviously these guys don't fear one another, but you can't help but think maybe we saw even coming out of turn number 1, he took a little look over the shoulder. Where was Stu at? Is he second off to start? And so if he's right there in front of him, he knows exactly where he's at and what he's doing.
Well, it's more than just Stu, too. I mean, Craig's a rider. He gets criticized a lot for looking around. Instead of looking ahead at the racetrack. But he's a rider that wants to know his surroundings, who's around him, because you ride differently depending on who you're riding with, and just who's behind you, who's in front of you. He's always making those mid-race adjustments to make sure he's at his best. But the battle for the lead continuing to heat up. I don't know how much hotter it can get, but Jordan Ashburn continues to have lead. Ben Kelly still wanting it, and now Josh Strang getting ever so closer to those top 2, sitting there in that 3rd place position on that number 17 Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki. Man, Josh Strang earlier in the season, if we'd have seen him, we might see him battling for the championship. He has been on fire the last couple of rounds.
Without a doubt, number 17 coming to life here in the closing stages of the race. Really impressed with the line selection of Ben Kelly in that open field shot we saw just a minute ago. Was able to close a couple of bike lanes within the number 1, but kind of that similar accordion effect we always talk about. It seems like they close up just in time to start shredding back out. And so we will see how things are going to feet here. Curious to see. Doesn't look like any stops.
Yeah, I think with 51 minutes into this one, I think we'll most of the strategy, it seems, would be to try to get these guys to go 3 laps, anticipating potentially roundabouts a 6, maybe 7-lap race. They're going to try to do it on a one-stop strategy if they can.
I'm curious to see how things will shake up there. Stu, another one we see with an alternate pit strategy. Oftentimes he's one of the first ones to try something a little bit different. Sometimes works in his favor, sometimes not so much. And so as the riders make their way through the finish line and the scoring area, we'll try to give you an idea of the splits as they cross the line. But on screen, it is also clear the number 1 in position, number 1, Jordan Ashburn, handling business with Ben Kelly chasing after him. Josh Strang trying to get in the mix of the top 2 as well.
Zach, one thing I took note of here is when Ben Kelly catches up there to Ashburn, he is making sure not to use the same line that he is. He's giving himself that opportunity. If I can charge out of this corner good, like you were saying with the line selection he was choosing in the field, he gives himself the opportunity to make the pass.
Absolutely. Such a good point there, Jackson. And not to mention, you see the shiny soil on your screen there where it really is packed down. You crack the throttle on that, we'll see the back end step out. The front end, oftentimes, we saw a couple of riders earlier today grabbing a little too much front brake. It locks up and puts you down on the dirt. So these riders having to push hard, but it's also easy to override the track in these conditions.
Guys, obviously we can see on screen how tight this lead group of 10 is, but the live scoring really puts it in perspective. We've got 10 riders separated by a total of about 12 seconds, with Jordan Ashburn leading the way, 1.7 seconds back to Ben Kelly. We won't do the decimals anymore. 1 second to Josh Strang, 1 second to Stu Baylor, 1 second to Craig DeLong, a whopping 3 seconds back to Ricky Russell from there. And then from there on, 1 second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 second throughout the rest of the top 10 as they run Jordan Ashburn, Ben Kelly, Josh Strang, Stu Baylor there in the number 4 spot, Craig DeLong in 5th. There's your battle for the championship right there, running 4th and 5th, and you can see him on screen just on cue. They come by, looking like Stu's starting to get away from Craig a little bit, starting to inch ever closer up to Josh Strang there in the number 3 spot. Then is Johnny Gerard in 7th, Mike Witkowski, they're running in the 8th place spot. 9th is Thad Duvall, and rounding out the top 10 in that XC1 and overall as they run, it is Grant Baylor.
So on screen, there you see your leaders popping out back into the field section once again. And yeah, to your point there, Johnny, it looked like Stu Baylor starting to stretch it out and latch onto the back of the 17 machine. And it kind of looked like Strang was doing the same thing with his top 2 rider battle, but they seem to just keep stretching it out little by little, and Strang's having to just tag along. Curious to see if Stu starts to catch up and apply pressure to the back of the 17, whether or not that'll cause him to fall off the pace of your 2 leaders at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like now for the moment it's gone the other way, and Josh Strang has actually closed back up to lead duo. And again, with the camera angles, it's hard to tell. I'm sure Stu Baylor is right there, but he is not in the shot with these 3. We'll likely see him maybe on this next straightaway shot. But there is your leader out front. The number 1, this will be the last time for this year, at least, or the coming year, that he'll be running that number 1. So wanting to assert his dominance and show, hey guys, I didn't just stumble into having this big number 1 plate on my bike. A lot of rumors as about where exactly Jordan Ashburn will end up next year. Don't know if he'll be back with that Magna One Motorsports Husqvarna team, but regardless, it's been a great run for those guys, winning the championship last year, and a good solid run with a win already under his belt here in 2023, looking to make another today.
Yeah, many exciting things coming for 2024. We'll have some different people on some different bikes, so that'll be exciting.
And as we wait for our leaders to pop back out, really pay attention here in these open field sections, the line selections. There you see Jordan Ashburn cutting deep. Looks like Ben Kelly kind of can follow in suit there, but they're using every square inch. They're using those edges, trying to stay out of the chop that you talked about earlier, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. You see him running those outsides, and then a lot of times trying to cross over like Ben Kelly did there to get to the inside, which then becomes the outside for the next one. So the more you can kind of stay out of the main line for the most part, it's just going to save energy, and in a lot of cases save you a little bit of time along the way. Some of these fields up front, the one we just saw there, the big long field, and even that one along the road there, yes, there are multiple lines, but definitely more passing opportunities in the field we're going to be in a few miles, way out in the back there after they do Ironman Hill, after they go through a couple of those creek crossings. Just the way that field section is laid out there this year, it's got some big arcing corners that you can take inside lines, outside lines, and as we saw, Ben Kelly just kind of pinning it around the outside of Craig DeLong, making that pass on camera just a few, or the previous lap. They're working their way, should be coming up to Ironman Hill here very soon.
Ironman Hill, of course, one of the fan favorites on the circuit. Plenty of fans out here to enjoy it as well, and they are all trying to get a spot on the fence line and get along the woods line. I mean, they're up in the trees, they're under rocks, pretty much anywhere the mud fleas are out in force here at Ironman.
As they come up to Ironman Hill, speaking of lines, there are 2 main lines up Ironman Hill this year, and we saw the pass for the lead happen yesterday in the ATV race with Bryson Neal taking that right, at the time, less desired line and able to power past Hunter Hart at the top and make it stick and make the pass. So will we see that here coming up soon when they do get their way over there? We'll wait, we'll watch, and we'll see how it all pans out very soon here.
And as you can see, the soil continuing to dry out. Curious to see how that will change over the course of 3 hours as well.
Zach, I'm very impressed that Jordan Ashburn has been able to hold off Ben Kelly. With as fast as Ben Kelly got around Strang, got up there into that second spot, I'm impressed that Ashburn is able to hold him off still going into lap number 3 here.
Yeah, Jordan Ashburn, a rider that's very comfortable out front, Jackson. You know, he's led so many races over the year. He may only have a handful of wins to his credit, but he has led so many laps. You know, this guy is perfectly comfortable, and you can go back even to the previous kind of generation of riders, and they'll tell you one of the hardest guys to pass, and they say it with much respect, is Jordan Ashburn. He's just rock solid. Nothing shakes him. You can show him a wheel. You can rev your bike. You can take an alternate line, and he just doesn't really care. He just rides his lines, and that makes him very hard to pass.
That is a very valuable skill in multiple ways. Most riders not able to handle the pressure when you got Ben Kelly, when you got Josh Strang right there behind you, not trying to do everything they can. Ben Kelly has chose every line. He has done every way to show him, hey, I'm back here. Jordan Ashburn still chugging along.
You know, Jackson, I can tell you right now that I'm retired, no secrets to give up, or I'll give up the secrets. I was a rider that was very much affected by the pressure of other riders. Even when I was at my best, knowing physically, you know, speed-wise, mentally, I was strong. The minute a rider started pressuring me, I don't know, I just had a hard time controlling the heart rate. Oh, Ben Kelly with an outside line, ooh, getting kicked around, just not able to get enough of a drive.
And those are the kind of moments, that mental side that you're talking about, comes into effect.
Yeah, and it's so easy, you know, to lose your cool. Not saying that I ever would, you know, necessarily have big crashes, but it's oftentimes you'll see a rider that's there looking good, suddenly somebody puts some pressure on them, and they just kind of fade back multiple positions. Sometimes letting that kind of intensity get the best of you, it's easy to tighten up, get arm pump, you know, get out of your comfort zone, spike the heart rate. Now let's see. Zach Aaron, here we come. It's the split line. Are they going to follow the lapper, or are they all going to take that right line? Looking right now, still all of the top 3 at least favoring that right line. Look at the gap they have now opened up over Stu Baylor in 4th. He was right there pressuring Josh Strang just a couple straightaways ago, and now he has dropped off just a little bit. Still in our camera shot, but he's definitely lost a little bit of ground here in this last mile or so.
Yeah, and you could even see in that section right there, Jordan Ashburn being able to make the most of it, able to open the gap back up across that log section. So using his skills to be able to put a little bit more of a buffer between himself and the Red Bull KTM of Kelly.
There we see top 3 into the woods, and that blip you saw across the bottom of the screen there, that was the 514 machine of Stu Baylor, one of the 2 riders vying for an XC1 and overall championship here today at the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC. It will all be decided. Someone will be presented with the coveted #1 plate when this one is done and the checkered flag flies.
So taking a look now, your Yamaha live drone doing a great job of following the racing action. They dip in and out of the woods. And so far it has been a lot of the same story. You know, they spread out, they close back in. Ben Kelly, though, can't say the guy isn't trying. Let's see, can he make it happen here? He cuts to the inside.
And I believe this was the section where he made the pass last lap, and he does it again, taking that wide sweeper in that left-hander, able to take the lead away from Jordan Ashburn. But Jordan Ashburn looking like he's not done. He's got to run up the inside of Ben Kelly. Can't make it stick in that corner.
Ben Kelly, I've been watching him here in these field sections. His ability to cut across and arc these corners while keeping the momentum up. You could watch, he closed the gap up in some of these sections. So Ben clearly feeling good aboard that KTM. You said he wasn't feeling comfortable a couple weekends ago. He's got something figured out today.
Well, let me tell you, I mean, the pressure, the lack there of pressure of knowing, unfortunately for him, or if you're a Red Bull KTM fan, not in the championship hunt. He has been mathematically eliminated, sitting solidly there in the #3 spot, but he doesn't have that pressure. You know, Stu Baylor, obviously Craig DeLong have that pressure from the championship looming today. Ben Kelly does not. He's able to just go out there and ride his dirt bike, and so far that plan seems to be working out pretty well for him.
So the 530 taking over the lead on the FMF Red Bull KTM with Jordan Ashburn taking over second. It's Josh Strang on the Kawasaki, chasing him down, trying to get into that top 2 mix, but right now things are all the 5.30 of Ben Kelly trying to bring it home here. We still got more than an hour's worth of racing out here at the Ironman GNCC, kicking off the finale of the 2023 season. And we will get a word from our sponsors, and we will be back here in just a minute to see how things are going to shake up. There was Jordan Ashburn on board. Here is the pass for the lead. Ben Kelly cutting to the inside, leaving the brakes off, the throttle open, and making it happen. We'll get a word from our sponsors and be right back to the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider is just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone, or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
ontrackschool.com. Check it out.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires, delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles: automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Every race, every day, in every way. Print, social, digital, video, photo. Every race, every day. Every result, every story, every rider, everything. Moto every day with Racer X.
If you have been following the GNCC series this season, it was hard not to notice the Focus X Pro-Am team. For a first-year race program, they came out swinging and have been a dominant force this season. The team was formed to honor the late Dave Eklund. Dave was battling cancer for several years and passed away in December 2022 at the young age of 62. Dave was an avid off-road motorcycle race fan and the father to former AMA Pro Motocross and Desert racer John Eklund.
Part of the reason I wanted to do this Focus X team was because of my dad. It's just been a great way to kind of give back to the kids and also do something in my dad's memory. Try to get my riders to be like him. You know, he outworked everybody, and I feel like if you want to be successful, you're going to have to outwork everybody.
John is the captain of the Focus X Pro-Am team, and at the age of 39, he stepped back into the pro ranks to tee it up in the XC3 class of several GNCC rounds.
Just want to try to honor him the best we can, and remember, you know, it's life's short, you know, so try to make the most of it, and yes, try to make my dad proud too.
With a limited budget and a stacked roster, the Focus X Pro-Am team racked up some impressive results. Ryan Anderson was consistent all season in the amateur women's class. Multiple-time national champion Nathan Delaney was battling in the 250A class, but a shoulder injury prevented him from finishing the season. Caleb Wood clinched the GNCC YXC2 title earlier this season at Snowshoe. Last night, he wrapped up the Youth Overall GNCC Championship. This double championship within one season places him in some very elite company.
One more time for your new champion, Caleb Wood.
16-year-old Chris Weiss had a stellar season. Chris claimed the 250B GNCC championship prior to this weekend, and he also won 2 AMA Amateur National Motocross Championships at the Loretta Lynn Ranch.
And once again, now a 2-time champion in 2023, Chris Weiss.
Colton Kuntz dominated the Open B class this season with 7 podium finishes. Colton clinched the GNCC championship prior to coming to Ironman. Gavin Hampton came into this race at Ironman locked in a tight points battle in the 150B class. If everything goes well today, he will finish this season within the top 3 of his class. Dave Eklund, we know you're up there watching, and you are proud of this crew. Not too shabby for a rookie program.
The theme of the team is the future of fast. These kids are going to be the next generation of fast riders, and I want them to learn from my father, you know, that they need to work hard. You got to get up early and you got to get after it. You can't be wasting away the day, and you got to seize the moment, you know. So you can't be a slacker and think you're going to win a championship.
So, yeah, Caleb Wood wrapping up that youth championship yesterday. There is Ben Kelly trying to wrap up a race win this afternoon, but he has still got a whole lot more to go. Here, we're just getting started. There is Jordan Ashburn still hanging on to the second-place spot. Josh Strang hanging behind him as well. We will look to see. There is Stu Baylor, Ricky Russell, Johnny Gerard, and there is Craig DeLong. So it looks like DeLong might have lost another spot. And kind of like what Johnny G was saying, you can't help but think of whether or not the pressure and just the weight of the situation starting to gather up. Now here, once again, getting a shot of your leader on screen. Ben starting to open up a little bit of gap over the number 1 of Ashburn as well. There you see Jordan getting caught up in the back end with some lap traffic, having to find his way around. There is Strang as well. And that's another thing worth noting, guys. This weekend, absolute record turnout of attendance. We've had some incredibly packed classes, but that means a ton of lap traffic that these leaders are going to have to go through.
Exactly, Zach. We've talked about it all day long. The lap traffic at an all-time high here at Ironman, and we'll see how that is going to play into our pro bikes here this evening.
It's kind of interesting. Is that going through? Okay. Kind of interesting looking at the scenarios. You know, you got Ashburn was out in front, Ben Kelly now leading, and I can't help but think that as we enter the last season, a national title on the line. You go back a couple of years, Ben Kelly the national champion. Last season, Jordan Ashburn the champion. Those guys had some, Lyndon Snodgrass on screen moving through right there. Those guys had a couple of weeks to think about, like, man, I was the champ. I'm still capable. I want to show it at Ironman. So not surprised at all to see Jordan Ashburn and Ben Kelly doing so well here an hour and 10 into this one.
Yeah, it's like we said, there's a lot of different storylines, a lot of different points to prove out there, whether you had a bad start to the season, whether you were doing great and had some things go wrong at the midpoint of the season. Everybody wants to close the season on a high note, and that's what exactly they're trying to do right now as the 530 of Ben Kelly trying to handle business and take home a win. But he has got Jordan Ashburn and the rest of this XC1 field hot and heavy on his back wheel. There you see Josh Strang running solid in that number 3 spot as well. We saw Strang really start to come to life there in the back stages of the race, so can't help but think he might be just kind of hanging tough, waiting to put a final charge in later in the race.
Yeah, really cool to see Strang up there having a podium performance a couple of weeks ago at the Buckwheat 100. And he was kind of the guy, you know, we talked about earlier in the season when we had those 7 winners in 7 rounds of like, all right, round 8, here you go, Josh Strang. This is all yours, buddy. And you know what? We talked a lot about Bryson Neal, you know, chasing down some history with Ironman Bob Sloan. Well, Josh Strang trying to track down on the all-time wins list. If he could pick up one, he would tie some fella named Fred Andrews down there at the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki rig. So Strang still chasing history after all these years.
Absolutely, and Strang more than capable of doing it as well. That's the thing when we talked about, oh, you know, we just need Strang to win. That wasn't some crazy thing. That was is definitely something that is more than capable of happening at any moment. As we got a look there at your XC2 class, it did still look to be one of the Trail Jesters KTMs out front with Liam Draper hanging strong in second. I believe that was Gus Reardon out front the last time we saw. Not sure if it's still the 35 leading the way. But your XC2, they were still very close there, Jackson, as well. That was about 4 riders all within a couple of bike lengths from one another. So things still very hot in the XC2 class as they're trying to wrap up a title as well.
Waiting. Here they are. They're coming. Maybe.
All right, that was Ben Kelly.
Yes.
Now here comes Jordan Ashburn. They've got wheels on the cornfield.
Getting a wee bit of separation out there. That's a bean field now. Come on. Indiana.
Jeez.
I don't know. We got corn. There's more than corn
done.
in Indiana. We also have soybeans. That's about it, though. And GNCC.
And
so
GNCC.
We'll take it, baby.
And Mikey Waynes.
Sometimes when I'm here.
So there you see your leader making his way across the bridge, closely followed by Jordan Ashburn. Do you see the pop Ashburn got jumping up onto that bridge? That's got the potential to cause some issues as well. Those bridges, the man-made surfaces oftentimes catch riders off guard. They can get really slick as well. Gets a thin layer of dust on top of it. So have to watch how this one plays out. There is Ricky Russell. Did we miss?
Stu Baylor was just ahead of him.
Yeah.
Quite the distance, though, between Stu Baylor and Josh Strang.
There we see the Grizzly Grant Baylor making his way around as well. There is Thad Duvall. And got to think a solid finish for Duvall. Try to keep it inside the top 10 and try to take it all the way to the checker flag. Just try to bring this thing home and complete a race here in 2023.
Yeah, it would feel good for Thad to go out for the season on 2023 with that top 10 finish. I'm with you on that one. That'd be a good one for Thad. Thinking about Craig DeLong kind of maintaining back there right now, it's almost reminiscent of like the season he's had. When you look at it, he's the guy that has consistently, he's scored points every single round, whereas Ben Kelly, Stu Baylor, the guys that were in that title contention for him, had a round or two where they got no points. They were outside of that top 20. That's kind of been the difference maker. Well, that and 3 wins certainly helps. But Craig DeLong is just a guy, he's always, you can count on him. You can count on Craig, old reliable.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got a lot of ups and downs from a lot of other riders, whereas Craig's kind of running that mid-level. You know what I mean? He's done what he needs to do. Obviously, a lot of times you hear him even in the post-race interview. I want more. I want to be winning every race, as all of these riders do. But he knows the big picture. Kind of reminds me of a Ryan Dungey-esque over on the motorcycle side of things, where he knows how to value a second and third place and consistency throughout the whole season, and one of those riders that is thinking of the big picture all the way from the start of the season.
What a season it has been for Craig DeLong, getting his first win there in Georgia in the XC1 class, and now here we are at round number 12 battling for the championship.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, just looking at the season, and to your point, he won that absolute mudder, one of the muddiest, nastiest, and certainly probably one of the coldest races I've been to, and Craig won in those conditions. And the rain has kind of been the story of our whole season, unfortunately. But then we finally had a duster in round number 8 at the Mason-Dixon, and Craig DeLong said, okay, I'll win that one too. So rain, shine, he's like the United States Mail Service. Like, doesn't matter. He's going out there to perform.
Well, and that was one of the first things he said on his post-race interview. He said, I wanted to show that I could do it outside of crazy, muddy conditions. He was like, a win is a win, don't get me wrong. He was like, but now I've done it in, quote, air quote, normal conditions, a little more normal. And he was like, I think this was a point I needed to prove not only to the competition, but to myself as well.
Yep. And really cool, Andrew racing today. I heard you guys saying his name a lot.
Oh, yeah.
The P2 in the OA.
Winning his class.
Yep.
And A class.
No slouch, Andrew DeLong.
Couldn't help but think, and give me your opinion on this, Mikey. We were talking about, obviously, these riders, they pedal the course. You hear that a lot. Oh, we pedaled this mile to this mile. But Andrew DeLong, I feel like he had to be out there taking like rally car notes to give his brother Craig. Be like, all right, you take the outside line here. Watch out for this rock here. And so who knows, man. They're pulling out all the stops to try to bring this championship home to Craig DeLong. So excited to see, and he's at the moment got himself in the perfect spot to do just that.
Yeah, he's doing his job right now. DYJ.
Trying to get a shot of our leaders.
Crisscrossing their way around. And if you guys haven't already, you got to hop online on social media and take a look at just the turnout out here. I've seen the photos at night. Looks like a small city skyline just hanging out here. All the fans, all of the racing families coming to hang out and close out this 2023 Progressive GNCC racing season. and a lot of them sticking around. I love to see it when you don't see a ton of the ATV crowd leave on Saturday. They stuck around, they hung out for the Monster Energy concert, and they want to see the championship get crowned here Sunday afternoon as well.
Not only that, a couple of our pro ATV riders running this morning as well.
And by the way, if anybody out there listening, it was a non-points class.
Yes,
so let's not get upset. But yeah, they were out there having some fun today. That was kind of cool. Wyatt Wilkin and Cole Richardson, right? Yeah.
Wyatt Wilkin actually winning his Sportsman B class.
I'm not shocked.
Wyatt Riff-Raff Wilkin this weekend. Looking good, feeling good. And yeah, Cole Richardson, I did see when he came by, he was missing a front number plate on the bike. So might have found the ground at one point or another, but he made his way around all the way to the checkers. And glad to see those guys letting loose a little bit, having some fun and, kicking off, doing some different stuff. Obviously, a lot of these guys very familiar with motorcycle riding on the ATV side of things as well, but to come out and drop the flag and go racing with us as well is just really cool to see.
Yeah, a lot of those guys, I know Cole's one of them, Landon Wolf from 4x4 Pro class, they do a lot of training on the dirt bike as opposed to the ATV.
Look at this.
Look at this tight pack.
So Ashburn has now caught up to the rear end of Kelly, and here he goes to the inside. Not going to be enough.
Yeah, this is an all-out barn burner right here. Ashburn, I don't know whether he was catching his breath, trying to figure out a line, but he has said it is time to go right now, and got to think we're going to be seeing some pits here coming up in just a minute or so. So maybe he's just trying to close into the back end, get as close as he can, and maybe make this a pit stop race as well. Everybody from the gas guy to the goggle girl's got to be on their marks and get things done as quickly and cleanly as possible. So we'll see how this is going to shake up. There you see your leader charging down the hill, the FMF Red Bull KTM of Ben Kelly, closely followed by the #1 of Jordan Ashburn.
I love that downhill camera shot there. One of the few camera shots where you can really understand the speed that these XC1 guys are.
I was just about to say that. This is like it's doing it some justice to the speeds these guys are running through the woods. We don't always get that. You lose a little bit on TV. It doesn't quite put it in perspective. Here we go.
All right,
pit stops.
So curious to see this Magna 1 pit stop. Jordan Ashburn way far down on the far side of pit road.
Throwing the goggles. He's ready to go.
And a relatively long pit stop here. Obviously, these guys trying to get as much out of the bike as possible. Going to try to do a one stop, but Jordan Ashburn going to definitely capitalize on that pit stop and come out front.
Yeah, interesting pit stop right there. We'll just call what we saw. I know the folks at home saw it. Didn't go through that chicane. That may have been. It also could have been something. Hey, I'm pitting. Is it okay that I do this? I don't know. Maybe he cleared it before. I'm not sure, because obviously he's going to lose time going into the pits.
Yep.
And it's almost like, do you really want to make that sharp turn coming out of the chicane?
Well, and that's why I drew attention to it when they were coming into it, because I actually walked down that's right beside where we were all this morning at the finish line, and that's the first thing I thought was, this is a little strange.
Yeah.
The Magna, the only tint there past the chicane, and so yeah, not sure we might have cleared it beforehand. We'll try to get a word on it, maybe talk to the Magna 1 team themselves and see what's going on there, but yeah, just call it like we see it, and whatever. At the moment, he's regained the lead.
Looks okay to me, but that's also above my decision making. So I don't know. We'll find out. I think Zach Heron going to make his way down there. Maybe see if he can't powwow with those boys. Get the word on the dirt, if you will. But nonetheless, call it like we see it, like Zach was saying. So Ashburn out in front, Kelly second, Strang third. Stu Baylor Jr. trying to do his thing back there. Needs a win here today, and then just see how things fall. But outside of that, watching the FMF PowerPoint now here in mile marker #1.
Things are getting deep coming into this FMF PowerPoint after they cross the creek there. You can see how deep those ruts are getting. And there is your leader getting into some lap traffic. He was able to get around him pretty good. Ben Kelly chasing him down now.
Yeah, I really like seeing Ashburn and Kelly out in front, getting into that example of two past champions. And I got to think all the talk of the national champion has those guys fired up to come out and put up a good performance here today. Was that Gerard?
Mike, yeah, I think Gerard has gotten around Stu.
So Johnny Gerard on the move. And I'd have to look back. It's been a long time. 2022, Ricky Russell.
Josh Toth making his way up that hill on the two-stroke, able to hear it a little bit there, but back on screen is the number 1 of Ashburn.
I was thinking Johnny Gerard won Ironman last year. Is actually the Hoosier this year.
Yes.
He picked up the win. That was round number 6. I knew I saw him with like the Hoosier basketball, and I'm like, okay, that was Hoosier, not Ironman. But nonetheless, Johnny Gerard, another one of those guys that picked up a win this year.
You can see these field sections really starting to get beat up. Acceleration bumps, braking bumps coming out. Oh, Jordan Ashburn getting through around a little bit there. Just as I was saying, it's getting pretty rough out there in the fields. The boys trying to dodge them the best that they can.
Ashburn's such a good technical rider. One of those guys that really loves like a hard enduro, excels at them.
And you can really see in that split line where we have the log set up, able to gain a lot of time there each lap.
Fun to watch him. Josh Toth, another guy, just real good racecraft riding style. And I can't toot his horn too much because it seems like every time Johnny and I would, a good example, Snowshoe a couple seasons ago, we were talking about how amazing he was every single lap coming through Howard's Hole, and then as soon as we started singing his praises, little dab came off the machine, so a little announcer curse, but no, Toth is amazing, and love having Josh Toth back out here racing with us today.
In all conditions, whether it's enduro, whether it's hare scrambles like we're at now, or whether it's pro motocross, he went and tried his hand at that this year as well, able to qualify for the race, and made it in the top 30.
Yeah, having fun. Racing the fun schedule. I got to say, I heard Johnny talking about it, kind of that Ryan Sipes sort of hybrid life, I guess, hybrid race schedule. And I remember when we heard about Sipes wanting to do that, my first thought was, well, that's never going to work. And I was very wrong. It worked out very, very well for Ryan Sipes. And he's had a ton of fun since. Had a pretty gnarly injury that he's still kind of recovering from. But nonetheless, I'm all about it now. I love seeing guys going out there and just making motorcycling fun.
Yeah, pioneer for people like Josh Toth.
For sure. Folks watching from the bridge. We're here for it. Love it.
Waiting at mile 2. Mile 2 getting pretty rough as well.
Woo, here we go. Ben Kelly follows, same line choice as Ashburn out in front of him. No problem for those guys. And there goes Josh Strang. Same line. Johnny Gerard. Yeah, you're right. Gerard on the move. Where is Baylor? Was that him to the left-hand side?
There goes DeLong up the middle. Followed by Duval. Looks like Thad's been able to catch up a little bit there.
So hard to quite see every line choice right there, but we caught the ones we could see at least. Keep our eyes out for what Ricky Russell, a 212 Ampro Yamaha ride.
And Ben Kelly able to close up on Ashburn.
Yeah, Kelly chipping away at him right now. When they checked in, 2 seconds was the gap? Both riders taking a pit stop, obviously. Kelly going to work. Former champion himself. Another guy who's kind of come back from injury, and a lot of question marks surrounding Ben Kelly after that injury of, hey, does he still have it? And I think as the season's worn on, he's had some highs and lows this season. There's no question about that. But Ben Kelly today looks more like the Ben Kelly we're used to seeing.
Ben Kelly looking very solid in these field sections. We'll see if he is able to catch up to Ashburn. Like Johnny was saying, Ashburn very comfortable there in the number 1 spot. He's eager to get it back. He has no problem with Ben Kelly being right there behind him.
Yeah, Ashburn's just great rider. Races the track in front of him. Don't see him get too rattled.
And here we go through the field section. Let's see if Ben Kelly is going to be able to make up any ground.
He's going for it. Outside, inside. And how about Ashburn, though, finding another gear right there? I really thought Ben Kelly's going to close it in right there, but mercy sakes. Jordan Ashburn hauling the mail to stay out in front of Ben Kelly.
He got a chance to see what Ben was doing through those field sections. He knows where he got past. and he is not going to let it happen again.
Approaching the halfway point of this Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC, watching the battle unfold between Jordan Ashburn and Ben Kelly. Here we go, lap traffic. All right, he moves. All right, what do we got on line choices here? These guys have loved going to the right-hand side. Is that still going to be the case? Will Ben Kelly try to make a move here on the left? No, he won't. He'll stuck right in there behind Jordan Ashburn. It's total opposite of what we saw to the ATVs yesterday.
Yeah, ATVs choosing to go to the left. All the bikes choosing to go to the right.
Hey guys, I'm going to jump in. I'm down here on pit lane with Chris from Magna One Motorsports. We saw the pit pass, or the pit stop, that resulted in a pass for the lead from Jordan Ashburn. Chris, why don't you run us through the clarification and everything that went on for that line right there?
Yeah, the setup in the pit was all discussed. Tim Cotter, Jeff Russell, all of them came over here. They went through all the teams all the way down, explained to them what was going to happen, simply because we're off to the end of the pit row. They approved that, said that we could pass here for pit stops only, obviously for goggles or for pit stops, but only, and then we use the same line for the rest of the race. So we came in somehow, not sure what happened, but we gained the lead back, and here we are. Not sure where Jordan's at, where he sits right now, but we're in a good position.
There you go. So Magna One doing exactly what they needed to do, checking all the boxes beforehand, and Jordan Ashburn had regained the lead and taken off from the pit stop, all green for the Magna One Husqvarna.
Hey, thank you for the clarification right there. And to let you guys know, your man, Jordan Ashburn, is out in front, but boy, getting all the smoke right now from Ben Kelly. Ben Kelly resets, checks up a bit, getting around safely around some lap traffic right there. And Jordan Ashburn, boy, Jordan Ashburn, just as soon as he's feeling that pressure from Ben Kelly, going right back to work and trying to pull away and put that gap on him. So Jordan Ashburn, well, he's not going to carry the #1 plate into 2024, but today he's reminding us of why he earned it last season, and he's got that #1 plate on the front of that Magna One Motorsports Husqvarna. We'll be right back with more from the Yamaha Ironman GNCC after this.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
Amsoil runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Oh, yeah. Top 5 moments of 2023 for the bike side. I got to be honest, hard to pick 5. We'll go back to Indiana. Round number 6, Liam Draper and Mike Wachowski. And you could see the frustration in Liam Draper that day. He had the win and ended up getting stuck behind a lapper, hit a hole, and Mike Wachowski was able to sneak in, right place, right time, and grab a win.
We take a look at number 4 on the list. That has got to be Lane Michael battling at round number 8 for the XC Pro win, coming back, rejoining the series, and I mean, he gave these guys all they wanted and then some. It came all the way down to the wire, and it was great to see Lane Michael not only up front and running strong, but able to do it for majority of the entire 3 hours.
Yeah, he was good. Great building block, if you will, for Lane Michael. Love to see his program kind of reestablish itself here at GNCC.
And then for number 3, the battle for the win with Craig DeLong with Ryder Lafferty at his XC1 Pro debut. Man, what a debut it was from Ryder Lafferty. Kept us on our feet. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, the number 10 Coastal Gas machine came out firing, looking super strong in the XC2 class early in the year, and then making his return here in these final couple of rounds, jumping up to the XC1 class and mixing it up with the big boys. We take a look at number 2. That is going to be Stu Baylor. Unfortunately, not the best highlight for Stu. Some mechanical issues at our last round. A huge shift in the championship points and the overall championship picture as well. Stu would have to go back to the pits, do everything he could to try to get that bike figured out. They were able to assess it, able to figure out what was going on, get it fixed, and get him back out on course to salvage a couple of points. But unfortunately, most of the deficit that you see Stu Baylor fighting through today is from that. But number 1 on the list, Mikey, take it away.
Oh, my goodness. History. 7 different winners in 7 rounds of racing. It was just the who's who on the center of the box. And just incredible to just watch that unfold. You know, coming into the season, Zach and Jackson, you guys were the new guys on the block. And, you know, obviously you guys asked a lot of the good questions of, like, who are the guys we look out for? And I mentioned some names. I had no idea. No one had any clue we were going to see 7 different winners in 7 rounds. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been exciting to watch for sure. And they are keeping the train a-rolling, as it looks like the number 1 has gotten back around and into the lead. Ben Kelly sitting in second with Stu Baylor hot on his heels. Or I believe that was Strang, then Johnny Gerard with Stu Baylor on the back of Johnny's heels. Oh, a couple of riders coming almost together. That was Thad Duval almost getting in the back of a lapper. But really looks like that XC1 group is starting to close the gap back up.
Yeah, things are tightening back up there in the XC1. We are over the halfway point. And I expect to see Stu Baylor put on a charge here soon. Like Johnny was saying early in the show, Stu charges hard towards the ending stages of the race. We're now past the halfway point just by a little bit. And I have to imagine if Stu Baylor's going to make a charge, it will be here soon.
Yeah, Stu's got to turn it on. You know, it's the game plan was obviously very obvious for Stu. It's go out, you got to grab a win. Things haven't really quite gone his way, but to your point, like you said, hey, he's the diesel, he's warming up. He is certainly not out of it. It's about time for Stu to go to work, though, at that halfway point. Now's where he starts dropping that hammer and pushing forward.
He's ahead of DeLong as of right now. So if he is able to put himself up there towards the front, that'll be the only thing he can do, like we've been saying. And here is Jordan Ashburn on screen. He's followed closely by Strang now. Strang staying in there, staying in the fight in this one.
Yeah, I believe the saying was somebody forgot to tell Josh Strang that he's not competitive for wins here. Yeah, absolutely. And you could see the emotion on Strang on the podium at the last round. The guy really, he puts his heart on his sleeve. He puts his heart and soul into this. And while he hasn't had the results for a lot of the year that we know he would love, we forget so quickly in this sport. And he's reminding us exactly why you should never count out the number 17. So Strang now in position number 2. The two KTM boys, though, doing a little bit of battle headed up the hill at the Monster Mile.
Love watching it.
So there was most of your XC1 group coming through there. And Stu Baylor caught up in the mix of that as well. Ricky Russell's still in the fight. And at this point, I mean, a rider could be in 5th, 6th spot, and they really are well within the realm of being able to catch up and move into a podium position. So things really just starting to heat up as we are crossing over the halfway point here in the season finale.
So what has happened to Ben Kelly? Did I miss something? It looks like Ben Kelly has moved down.
Yeah, Ben Kelly moving from 2nd to 3rd. Strang was able to get around him, but Ben was locked into a battle with his teammate Johnny Gerard. They were wheel to wheel, bar to bar, headed up that hill, and looks like the two KTM boys going to duke it out over the final spot on the podium for now.
Time for Stu to make a charge right here.
Well, just like I said, they're all right there in front of them. You know, we say it all the time. If you can see them, you can catch them. If you can catch them, you can try to make a pass. And so, you know, we talked about the Diesel. He's getting good and warmed up. He's got an hour and a half under the belt now. And so be watching out for the 514 without a doubt. But be watching out for the number 17 as well.
Yes.
He had been playing kind of cat and mouse with Ben Kelly and Jordan Ashburn to start off this entire race. But now Ben behind him at the moment, and he is able to focus on one person, and that is the number 1 of Jordan Ashburn, and gaining that lead. So it looks like Josh Strang getting the memo as well. Hey, time to go. It'd be nice to breathe a little clean air, stop eating roost.
No doubt, no doubt. And for Strang, hey, why not? We just talked about 7 different winners in this season. Why not make it 8? Get up there, Josh Strang. Go get you one.
Would be so cool to close out this season on another different winner. Would just kind of be par for the course here in 2023. We've had extreme conditions, a historic amount of winners, and just when you think you know what's going to happen, we throw a curveball at you.
It's been the one guarantee this season. The one thing you can count on is, well, things are going to change, and that has really been the story. I mean, literally through the first 7 rounds, as we reflect on the season, is it was anybody's championship at that point. And it started to become that question of who's going to get that, be that first 2-time winner. Well, the man who's got the points lead coming into today, Craig DeLong, answered that question. And Craig is the only guy with 3 wins under his belt here, and that's obviously a huge difference maker in his championship run.
Yeah, you talked about it. I mean, Craig being able to put points on the board at every round. And when you start getting into more than halfway through the season, you're still getting different winners every race. The focus starts to shift to limiting your bad races.
Sure.
And that has been really the strong suit of the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. There is Gus Reardon leading the way in the XC2 class. Liam Draper still hot on the heels, followed by Davis on the 922. I believe that's Barnes just behind him as well. And I swear you could have taken this exact shot from the last lap and pasted it right there.
Identical.
That is impressive to see.
I was a little worried it wasn't a replay.
I almost questioned it for a second.
It might be a replay.
Just goes to show how tight that racing is in the XC2. We're getting confirmation. That was live, baby. That was this lap. Those guys have been going at it for that long as they are making their way through the Monster Mile, headed back up the hill. And just goes to show, I mean, tight racing in the XC1 class. There you see your leader back on screen. And look at that. Strang is right there knocking on the door. He's almost close enough to show a wheel. Johnny Gerard has made the pass for 3rd. Stu Baylor gets a good drive up the hill. Almost made a little contact there with Ben Kelly trying to make the pass. And so things are heating up. It looks like a lot of people are trying to go at the front of the field, make some passes, and make the charge towards the front. Seems like everybody got that, hey, it's halfway, time to go, Mark.
Yep.
And the intensity has already started to rise.
Sounds like we're getting radio chatter. Sounds like this will be a 6-lap race here today.
And it sounds like, oh, not what we were wanting to see. It looks like Thad Duvall off the side of the track, and the bike is up on the stand, so not what we wanted to see for Thad Duvall. Like we said, just hoping he was going to be able to bring this home and take the checkered flag, and hopefully Thad's all right there. Going to try to figure out what happened for the Coastal Racing Gas. Back on screen, your Yamaha live drone catches the leaders making their way across the road.
I'm not going to lie, Zach. I'm glad to hear you trip over your tongue a little bit, because yesterday you were so on top of it with all the one-liners, all the witty stuff. Looks like you ran out of steam, buddy. But I'm taking a little pride in it. But hey, Yamaha, that still works. Maybe that'll be their new tagline for 2024.
You never know.
Make a good Halloween costume next year, kids. Your Llama Yamaha.
Yep.
Man, this battle definitely heating up out there, though. I don't know if you can even say heating up. Still hot.
Yeah.
It heated up right
about to boil over.
Yeah. I mean, it really heated up right from the drop of the green flag, and it has not cooled down one bit since. They just keep throwing haymakers, going at it, throwing everything they have at it, trying to grab the lead, trying to keep the lead. And, man, it's really just shaping up out there. It's great racing action and great for the fans here.
Well, and I'm telling you, a new player to the duel up front right now is Johnny Gerard. Like we said, missing the last round due to illness, but able to come back. And, man, he put on a charge, was able to get around Ben Kelly, and is already starting to close the gap up to the back of Josh Strang.
Okay, looks like we're watching on screen here.
Jordan Ashburn continuing to lead the way, trying to make his way. I thought that was Jordan Ashburn.
No, still not them yet. Those are some.
I saw a white and a green fender in.
Other riders battling in other classes. We're still waiting on the leaders to pop out into the field section here. Haven't seen them just yet, but we wait with bated breath. A little shout out to our friend Rodney Tomlin if he's watching at home, a phrase that he coined many years ago. Our breath is bated, and we're hoping someone takes the hook.
Johnny, I want to get your input while we're waiting on these guys. Jordan Ashburn, Ben Kelly battling out front. Now it's, Josh Strang up in the mix, a former champion himself. How much of that do you think is like, hey, I was the champ a year ago, as for Jordan Ashburn 2 years ago, Ben Kelly, I was a champ. And obviously a lot of talk about the national championship this weekend. And here we go, leaders on screen. How much of that is those guys saying, man, I'm still that guy. I can still be that guy. I want to go out and show today I can be a champ. I can win races.
Yeah, I mean, it really is racing as a mindset. All of these guys are putting in the work during the week. All of these guys have their setup figured out this deep into the season. It really does just come down to, kind of pulling the trigger on it. Sometimes it's just confidence. And right now, it's like, no matter how confident you feel, I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders basically wheel to wheel, and any one of these guys at any moment could go all the way from the front position all the way back to that 7th place spot. And kind of rolling out the tail end of that group right now is the 342 of Craig DeLong, looking like he's kind of hanging on there and saying, look, guys, there's a lot of battling, a lot of paint being traded, and I'm just going to kind of sit back here and watch this scene unfold, knowing what the math is that he needs to do, but still put himself in the position. He's not letting anybody get away, and who knows, maybe we'll see a late race charge. Maybe not the safest move, but it's been talked about so many times. These guys win the championship. The best way to do it is on a race win. That's, you want to celebrate the win, come across, do that fist pump, and then, also celebrate that season-long championship as well.
So this is what these guys have been working for all year long. Like we said, Craig DeLong, one of those guys, seem to have the big picture all the way from round number 1, able to consistently put points on the board, as there is your battle on screen. Hey, guys, got to give a big shout out to the Golden Boy, Brock Glover, saying he's enjoying the coverage from sunny San Diego. So awesome to see Brock watching the coverage there. Everybody tuning over from all over the world, all over the country, everybody wanting to see how this XC1 championship is going to wrap up. And, of course, we got an XC2 championship to crown as well.
That's right.
You got championships on the line, but right now it's almost not even about that. This is about the racing action.
For sure.
Yes, we know the bigger picture. Bigger picture. Listen, man, for me, slip-ups are nothing. You guys are professionals. I'm just the retired racer that tries to throw a little perspective in here. But, yeah, that was a good one. The bigger picker. Well, the bigger picker here is that somebody's going to walk away with a national championship for the overall and XC1 class and also the XC2. We do know that. But right now, these guys aren't thinking championship. Craig DeLong might be. Stu Baylor in the back of his head might be. But every one of these guys on screen, all 7 of them are thinking. And I can tell you, I've been in this situation before. We're about an hour and a half, little over an hour and a half into this one. But even on the last lap, where you're sitting back there in 7th and thinking, man, one right line here, and I can be in the lead. All I need is a little push. I can win this thing. But the flip side of that, somebody has to end up back in that 7th place spot. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But, man, when you can see the lead at this point in the race, knowing that, you have a win in the grasp, it's hard to accept anything less.
Look at this freight train of riders making their way down through the woods and having to navigate around the lap traffics as well. We saw a lap ago Jordan Ashburn getting hung up a little bit, headed up a hill. There, even in that last field shot, it looked like that was Ben Kelly just having to move over a couple of inches to make sure he wasn't going to collide with one of the lap riders. Something as simple as that could cause chaos for these riders having to move to a different line.
To your point, look at this. I mean, these guys are thick in lap traffic right now. I feel bad for these lap riders because they move over thinking they're letting 1, 2, maybe 3 guys by. And next thing you know, they're getting absolutely just bombarded with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all right in a row. And so a lot of these guys are just pulling over and saying, hey, I'm going to let the race go by because clearly I'm not a part of it. I don't really know what's going on here, but I don't want to get in the mix.
Well, and a courteous thing to do as well. Obviously, some of these riders trying to wait until the absolute last second, whereas some of the other ones said, you know what, they're catching me pretty quick. I'm gonna go ahead and hang off to the side, cheer on some of my favorite riders. And so great to see how these guys are continuing to pick their way through the lap traffic. And Josh Strang, look, he's within a bike length. He's able to show a wheel now. All he's got to find is a good line and an opportunity to strike, and we could see Josh Strang trying to make a pass for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been in this position already here today where he is the chaser and he shows a wheel. And so far, it seemed the riders that he's been trying to make a move on have been able to kind of hold him off, match that pace. But, man, Josh Strang is a fighter. The tenacity is legendary. He's been around the 17 seasons here of GNCC Racing, rocking that number 17 for his 17th season. This guy's a veteran. He is not going to give up. And we're seeing him, again, the last couple races, get stronger as the race goes on. You know, and that's another thing. Josh Strang, well into his 30s now. I don't know his exact age. We could look it up. But he is in his 30s. And I can tell you, when you get to that kind of over 30, you get more stamina. You get old man strength. Like, you realize, hey, man, when you're in your 20s, when you're in your teens, when you get tired, you start thinking, I can't go anymore. I need to back it down. I need to kind of maintain here. When you get into your 30s, you realize, man, I put myself in this position a lot of times, and I kept pushing, and I never died. It never went completely sideways. I was always able to maintain. So it just gives you that confidence of knowing, hey, I can dig deeper, I can push harder, and I think that's a lot of what we're seeing out of Josh Strang these last couple races. But look at that freight train. Grant Baylor up in there.
Grant Baylor making some moves there.
Yeah, Ricky Russell, and there is Craig DeLong, the man right now in the driver's seat for this 2023 GNCC Championship, sitting back there in that 7th place spot. As we refresh our live timing and scoring here, we have now 4 laps complete. Looks like we've got 8 riders checked in. Actually, sorry, Craig back in that 8th place spot. Looks like Jordan Ashburn leading the way, Josh Strang 2nd, Johnny Gerard 3rd, Ben Kelly 4th, Stu Baylor Jr. there in 5th, 6th place Grant Baylor, so the Baylor boys flying in formation, 7th place Ricky Russell, and then 8th place is Craig DeLong there. With 4 laps complete, we do see the 2-lap board in hand, meaning this will in fact be a 6-lap race. And man, this one really shaking itself out. Josh Strang ducking the head there to avoid the roost, looking like he's gonna try a line here any moment on Jordan Ashburn. Oh, and a little just jumping up out of the rut, Zach, just enough to slow him down, not able to make a move there.
Yep, Strang doesn't quite get the drive out of the corner, and unfortunately going to lose a couple of bike lengths along with it. You see Strang using a lot of these outsides, really trying to keep the momentum up, and there in those tighter wood sections, it looks like he was kind of tucking in behind the number 1 and letting Jordan Ashburn push his way through the lap traffic. He was kind of able to swallow in or follow in behind of him and take advantage of the gap that the lap riders were able to open up, and that also allowed the 969 of Johnny Gerard to close up to the back as well. But here in these open field section, it seems to be a table for 2 between Jordan Ashburn and Josh Strang.
Yeah, Zach, and one thing worth pointing, a storyline we had early in the season was the 7 wins, 7 rides. Oh, look at this. It looks like Stu Baylor has made the move around Ben Kelly, and maybe also Grant Baylor as well. Yep. So both of the Baylor brothers displacing Ben Kelly back 2 more spots and working their way up a little closer to the front. Back to Josh Strang. He was the one rider that was active in the XC1 class. There was a few there that had not gotten a win yet. We were talking about, could it be 8 riders this season? And Josh Strang, we know capable of winning. Man, we've seen him ride well this year, but this is absolutely, in my opinion, the best version of Josh Strang we have seen so far here in 2023.
Well, and just as we talked about with some of these other riders, confidence, the mental side of it. It's one thing to say, hey, I've done it before, I know how to do it. Without a doubt, there's a lot of creeping thoughts that have to go in. Obviously, the comments on social media, everybody likes to speculate, and that's got to take its toll. You could see the emotion at the last round. Josh Strang not only proving to everybody else what he's still got, but proving to himself what he's still got in the tank, and he's showing that here today.
Yeah, definitely a great point there. I mean, confidence is key. It goes a long way. He knows he's capable of being on the podium, not just because he thinks it, not just because he sees his numbers during the week and guys that he's able to ride with, but he's done it. He's already put himself on the podium just 2 weeks ago, and he's obviously wanting to do it again. Looking like we've got our live battle here for the XC2 class. We do see Liam Draper, and is that still Riordan there in front of him? Looks like it is. So Angus Riordan leading the way, Liam Draper there in second. We'll see if we can get an update on those guys as they run there. Mikey Wayne, what do we got here?
Well, we've got a spinning wheel.
Oh, they've checked in. There we go.
They have checked in. Riordan, Draper, Davis, Barnes.
So there you go. Top four kind of all flying in formation there. 0 seconds, the gap. Oh, sorry, that was the leader. I was like, I've never seen that before. 1.9 seconds back. Liam Draper behind Angus Riordan. And then Grant Davis another 1.5 seconds back and a whopping 2.5 seconds back to Cody Barnes. Guys, talk about these battles today.
Yeah.
How often have we ever seen this late in the race where so many riders just wheel to wheel separated by mere inches?
Well, and we said it just a lap ago, Johnny. Mikey and I saw a similar shot of the XC2 field. We thought it was a replay from the lap before because they had not changed an inch. The same gaps, the same positions. And to your point earlier, you talked about the path for the lead we saw yesterday headed up to Ironman Hill. I just saw a couple of riders starting to split over to that other line. Ricky Russell, feet off the peg, getting kicked off the seat, holding on to that Ampro Yamaha for dear life. So it sounds like riders starting to pick and choose some different lines here later in the race as well.
Tell you what, Johnny Gerard now right up to the rear wheel of Strang. Stu Baylor was all over Gerard, and that's that effect we've talked about. When one rider gets up and starts pushing the rider in front of them, there's two ways it can go. They can either slow each other down or speed each other up, and right now, it's this yin and yang effect, the see and the saw. It's like one rider starts pushing, the next rider tries to get away, next thing you know, they catch the riders in front of them. So it's back and forth, but man, no big gaps opening up. It really has been wheel-to-wheel battling now through 4 laps of racing.
Well, and you can't help but think as the riders continue to push their way deeper and deeper into lap traffic, theoretically at least, those riders are going to be a little faster. They're going to be a little more likely to be battling themselves for positions. In theory, also going to make it harder to get around them. So what is already a little gapped racing, I think is only going to tighten up from here.
I would agree. And normally I would say that, the guys in front have the disadvantage when they catch up to lappers. I'm actually going to say the opposite is true today for one reason. The sheer size of this front group. Like we talked about, 8 guys basically flying in formation. That is not something these lap riders are used to, accustomed to, or going to expect. So they're going to hear a couple bikes, they're going to pull over, get out of the way, and then they're going to start pulling back in, and it is going to affect the mix up here. Look at this. Josh Strang trying to get on the binders early, run up the inside of Jordan Ashburn, falls in line behind him, and I think we may see an attempt for the lead here in this field section where we've seen so many passes already today.
So here we go. Strang trying to capitalize, gets caught up behind a lap rider, though, unfortunately going to lose a little bit of ground there as well. Seems like, just like you said, Johnny, every time he gets ready to strike, something seems to pop up and stop the Kawasaki.
Did you see where Josh Strang started to turn down there, looked over to his left, saw that lapped rider, and realized that his entire setup and approach was foiled by one lapped rider, that rider doing absolutely nothing wrong.
Right.
It was just he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, at least for Josh Strang. But I tell you what, he was Jordan Ashburn's best friend right there. Now, let's see what happens here. I assume these oh, look at this. The lapped rider's going over the logs. How is this going to play out? Still opting for all of them, that right line through the logs. And look at this. This looks like rush hour traffic on a Southern California freeway.
This is, slot car traffic there. Look, one of the riders jumping over, and just like that, boom, they're off and rolling once again. So yeah, I thought the same thing, especially once that one lap rider dipped down to the lower line. Thought we would see some splitting up, but clearly all of your XC1 riders feeling like the one line definitely going to pay off more so than the other.
Watch this. Stu Baylor has a drive on Johnny Gerard there for the 3rd place spot. Gerard looking like he's not going to give it up easy, but Baylor has him around the outside and takes over the number 3 spot.
The Diesel warming up and working his way towards the front. Stu Baylor, he said he needs to do one thing and one thing only, and that's get the win. So he is trying to charge up. I don't think he's going to be satisfied with anything short of the number 1 spot today.
Well, he's up to 3rd, and he has eyes on the top 2, just a few bike lengths separating. There is your leader. On screen, Jordan Ashburn, 2nd place Josh Strang, 3rd place Stu Baylor, 4th place Johnny Gerard, taking a look over his shoulder there. Don't know what he's looking at, but he was looking left, and Grant Baylor was going right. So he better keep his head on a swivel, or he's going to lose another position to the Grizzly.
And so right now it is anybody's guess as to how this thing is going to wrap up. We're watching right now Josh Strang, the number 17, looking left, looking right, looking for anywhere he can try to make a move. He better watch out, though, because he's going to have to switch it up and get defensive.
Stu Baylor.
Stu is coming on hard. It's anybody's guess, folks. We are battling it out here. We're going to get a quick word from our sponsors and be right back to see how this thing is going to close out. This is the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using Arma. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
Knotty Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. We're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Knotty Tires.
So taking a look at the Stasic race recap, we talk about it all the time. Stasic Racing, arguably one of the most exciting races you're going to see all weekend long. And, of course, it was the finale of the 2023 season. You know we had to do it big. There's the man himself. I don't even know who Griff Cotter is dressing up as.
Leonard Skinner. That or Moses. Yeah. I don't know.
I actually can shed some insight on this. Carrie Joe, our executive producer, told me Fat Thor. Okay. Apparently it's from a movie.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So there we see our Little Rippers making their way around, getting cheered on by all the fans. And I'm telling you what, the fans turned out for this. Everybody wanting to see who was going to grab the final checker flag of the Stasic Showdown season. Look at this side-by-side action, reminiscent of Stu Baylor and Craig DeLong. Elbows up. The dogs are out, and everybody was having such a great time.
Griff Cotter in the house here.
Okay.
That is Fat Thor comes back and says the Avengers, Fat Thor. That was his. He did have to put some pillows under his shirt though, because I don't know if you've seen Griff, but he is lean.
I was about to say,
folks.
Griff could have just been Thor and carried a hammer around, but.
One thing I do want to say, it was dark by the time all this was kind of wrapping up. They had some light plants out there. There was some shadows out on the course, and I heard a number of the parents say, "I can't get this child to go in the backyard when it's dark. You put the Stasic in front of him, you can't get him off the thing." They did not want to stop riding.
Hey, they felt like they were at Daytona.
Under the lights, baby. Racing under the lights.
And then, of course, the Monster Energy Concert Series, night number 2, kicking off with our main event, Parmalee. And, man, did the fans show out. We had a great time rocking it out, and that was a ton of fun. We were out in the back of the crowd. We were able to sneak around backstage and check out what was going on, and they went all out for us here at GNCC. So an awesome job there getting the shots. And the fans, I mean, they turned out. Jackson and I were talking about earlier. There had to be a couple of people that were a little slow getting out of bed this morning because they were thoroughly enjoying the Monster Energy Concert Series. And that's just part of the spectacle that is the Ironman GNCC. You know you're going to get great racing. You know you're going to have a great season finale. But you also know we're going to have some awesome entertainment, some awesome just kind of one-off events here at Ironman.
Well, look at the crowd we had there for the Parmalee. Man, if you've not ever got to come to the Ironman GNCC, it is one you will want to come to. But one of my favorite parts of the weekend, right there, the 338, that is Jason Lawrence coming out to play with us here this morning.
And all you Moto fanatics out there are saying, Jason Lawrence, yeah, well, that's right. We're talking about J-Law. And look at that, reminiscent of 2008. He's ripping hole shots once again aboard the Phoenix Honda. Look at driving it deep, really reminiscent of 2008. And J-Law starting things off strong, having a great time out there. He was blowing kisses to the crowd. Now, we did get word that it's a little longer than your average pro motocross race. And J-Law catching up to him after a little bit, but he said he had a great time. He was hooting and hollering coming across the line, and awesome to see Jason Lawrence joining us out here for the final GNCC.
Leaders on screen still looking like they're running in the same order, and at the tail end of this group we're Ricky Russell having now made the move around Ben Kelly, so that's another spot picked up for him. And there is Craig DeLong still at the tail end of that group, and actually Craig DeLong's older brother Andrew also out there in the industry class this morning and led the entirety of that one. Didn't see the last lap, don't know if he ended up grabbing the overall. He had a pretty healthy lead there for quite some time. A rider that was a top XC1 racer and multi-time XC2 winner, former Enduro champion, has moved on to some different things in life. Now owns a trucking company, and he spends a lot of time on the road. He said, hey man, I'm not in shape for this. I haven't even ridden a dirt bike in a year and a half, but my little brother has an XC1 title on the line later today, and there's no chance I'm missing this, so I'm here, and I figured if I'm coming, I might as well bring out my dirt bike. That just shows the family atmosphere that is GNCC racing, even at the highest level. Craig DeLong, championship on the line. Big brother Andrew coming back and saying, I'm not going to miss this race, but if I'm coming, might as well do some riding of my own.
And he's no slouch. He was able to get first there in that Sportsman 825 Plus.
And he was battling it out with Rachel Archer there in the WXC class. I mean, they were going toe-to-toe. He says it might have been a while since he's been on a bike, but he has not lost it.
Wait a minute. We have lost Jordan Ashburn. Strang, Stu Baylor, and Johnny Gerard, now your top three. There's Ashburn there in fourth. So that is your top three. What a big shakeup that is. And now heavy pressure from behind.
Grant Baylor.
What should be Grant Baylor putting the pressure on to Jordan Ashburn. Ricky Russell there and Ben Kelly as well. Craig DeLong still just sitting back there saying, hey guys, you know, the pace is a little fast for me right now. I don't want to mix it up. I don't want to hit the dirt. Safely in that number 8 spot. More than enough at this point to get that championship wrapped up. But for the drama, folks, for the math, it's getting closer and closer. Stu Baylor now up to second. Craig DeLong back in 8th. That is still enough, but that points gap is coming down.
Absolutely, and like we've said all season long, anything can happen, and being on there the backside of the top 10, you got a little less time to try to make those adjustments if something you were to get together with a lap rider, if you were to go down, and so we'll just see how it all plays out. But at least for the moment, no immediate pressure on the back of Craig DeLong. So right now he's able to ride this pace. He's not facing anybody breathing down his neck, and so he should be able to ride there comfortably, at least for the moment.
One thing I am curious of is how much information is being passed along to Craig DeLong. Yes, he does know that he's sitting likely in that 8th place spot. He probably knows that. He knows the guys in front of him. He may not be counting, but he sees Stu. He knows Stu's not in the lead. He knows that's 5 points to the good for him. Stu's max being 25 points now there in second. Not saying he couldn't make the pass for lead, and looking like he's trying to do just that. But Craig DeLong, you know, in a lot of these races, when you start getting back towards the tail end of the top 10, the XC2 guys start factoring in. So you got to wonder in the back of his mind if he's just committed to this race or if he's getting information on the pit boards, letting him know where he stands in terms of, have I done enough? Am I in the position? And I got to believe that that is something that's been talked about amongst the teammates there and also the team members of that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna racing team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure any of us, there you go. You see Stu Baylor putting the pressure on Josh Strang, and that's what I was basically going to say. A little bit more complicated. Obviously, Craig in the driver's seat, but getting a lot of different information. How hard do I push? How much risk do I take? Whereas if you're the Rocky Mountain ATVMC, Teely Energy, KTM team, you are saying one thing: go. Get going, get to the front. You got to get every point possible. Things not easy, but very simple for Stu Baylor.
Yeah, absolutely. And now starting to see the top three stretch away just ever so slightly after that next group there of 4, 5, and 6. Man, I tell you what, Johnny Gerard really impressive today, coming off that illness the previous round and was sick much of the last couple weeks. And when I say sick, this gentleman has fever blisters on his hands. He's out there racing. You got to wonder, how's that going to factor in late in this race? Are those blisters going to come into play? Is he going to be able to hold on? But right now, no question, he's on the charge and right there battling for the lead along with Stu Baylor, and also out front, the freight train, Josh Strang.
Absolutely. Strang handling business right now, and not an easy rider to get around either. Obviously, Strang riding with a chip on his shoulder, something to prove here to close out the season. But I'm telling you what, Stu Baylor seems awful motivated himself. The 514 already starting to take peeks to the insides, running into the corners outsides. I think it won't be long before Stu's going to try to make a move.
Did you guys catch a view of how much of a roost sandwich Stu Baylor was eating there? I mean, this Ironman dirt is absolutely epic right now, and it is just coming right in through the face of that shoey helmet. I mean, Stu Baylor just eating that stuff up, chomping and saying, yes, sir, give me some more. I don't want to eat it anymore, but I'm going to sit here and just continue to take it till I'm able to get around.
Well, and one of the things I've learned so far over this year, Johnny, is these riders are very patient, especially compared to a motocross race. They've got way more time. They don't like to just sit there and eat roost unless they are trying to make a move, unless they're trying to figure something out. And so even similar when we saw Josh Strang starting to eat roost off the back of the Magna 1 Husky, we knew he was pulling the trigger. He was willing to take the time to eat that roost because he was going to try to make a pass. Can't help but think for the same for the 514. Taking a look, going to drop back and look at your XC2 class. There is Gus Reardon on the Trail Jesters KTM, leading the way. He's actually opened that lead up just a little bit over Liam Draper. There is the 922.
There is the 99 of Cody Barnes. So those four still exactly where we last knew that they were. Maybe the gaps have changed ever so slightly.
Barely.
But awesome to be able to keep track on that battle as well. There's Ricky Russell. There's Ben Kelly. So the other riders in front of them have checked in. There is Craig DeLong. Actually has closed it up a little bit now to the back of Ben Kelly. So maybe Craig's starting to feel a little bit of pressure that he doesn't want to let those leaders get away, not only for the sake of the championship, but man, if you have the ability, you sure like to get yourself in position to at least battle for a podium on that last lap if you can do so.
Absolutely, and we know he is more than capable, and kind of a nice time to do it. We're just now crossing over the 2-hour mark, so a little under 60 minutes to go. And oftentimes, this is when we say it's the championship hour. It's the separating the boys from the men as far as that goes. As far as this is when the fitness comes into play. This is when the strategy starts to come into play. As far as the pits go, it looks like everybody's kind of running on the same page. So now it just comes down to who's able to hang it out and, like you said, risk it for the biscuit all the way to the checkered flag.
I think worth noting, Josh Strang out front, he's the rider, the only one of these top guys that really didn't get a win earlier in the season, and maybe putting a little chip on his shoulder because not only is he up there battling for the win, but he's doing it when everybody's healthy, when there's so much on the line with the championship, but also every one of these guys just trying to get that momentum, trying to make that statement as we head into that long off-season break before we come back 2024 GNCC Racing. Really, really can't say enough about how impressed I am with Josh Strang here today.
So waiting for your leaders to pop back on screen. The Yamaha live drone getting us the aerial shots. And really cool to see the different line choices, the way riders are not only going through the corners, but the way they set them up far in advance. Oftentimes, sometimes 1 and 2 corners beforehand, they start to take a specific line because they want to try to make a pass 3 corners away, and they know that's exactly how they need to be set up. So it just goes to show how forward-thinking these races are, even in the heat of battle.
Yeah, and shout out to, our Yamaha Racing live drone today. I mean, doing the brunt of the work here with the camera shots and allowing us to follow this battle really throughout the entirety of this Ironman race course. And it's really providing us with a unique perspective, showing us just how those lines play out. Because like you pointed out, if you break this down corner at a time, you might think, wow, how did he make that pass? But setting it up 2, 3, 4 corners in advance, we saw that at the end of yesterday's race. Man, what a barn burner that was down to the final corners. And it was just, outside in, and then mixing it up in that last corner, just all the way around the outside, and it was able to make it stick. So passing is absolutely possible, and it's almost, I don't want to say easy, but this is a track that allows you a lot of opportunities. If you can set it up right and commit, you can make passes out here on this race course.
So Walker Fowler, the rider we're talking about there, I mean, running that thing all the way down to the line. And we talk about the never say die attitude of these riders, especially on a track like this. I'm sure they all know that, hey, I've probably got 1 or 2 different opportunities or different spots picked out where I feel like if I'm in the right position, I can try to show a wheel and make a pass. But you got to be close enough to be able to do that.
And to that exact point, Zach, you know, you were mentioning that these guys have a tendency to be patient, really don't want to eat that roost unless they feel like they can make a pass. Got to wonder if that's what's going on here with Stu Baylor. He was up there, he was eating that roost, he was giving it everything he had, every corner, looking like he was taking every shot, reloading and going again. Well, right now it seems like he's fallen off the back of Josh Strang just a little bit, still very much there, very much a threat, but just not kind of taking a shot every single corner like he was just a mile or so ago.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. Obviously, I mean, with majority of these riders, we don't question the fitness. We don't question, you know, if they're going to be able to push all the way to the finish. But it's the intensity, how intense the race has been to start things off. Obviously, we had a lot of flip-flopping back and forth. Ashburn was making things happen left and right. Didn't seem like no matter what you threw at him, you could get around him. Now you take a Josh Strang, who's kind of bulldozed his way up to the very front of the field, and I'm sure he's not going to lay over at all. He doesn't care about the points battle. He doesn't care about the championship battle. He cares about the number 17, and that's who he's taking care of right now.
One thing I want to point out as we look to the left of our screen there, well, leader's back on screen. As we look to the left of the screen there, this one looking like it's sorted out, at least for this section, although now it looks like, nope, that's a lapped rider behind Johnny Gerard. I thought for a minute there we may have some pressure for the third place spot. Look at the left, the running order on the left of the screen there. You got to go all the way down to 10th place in the overall to get to the leader of the XC2 class there with Angus Riordan. And surprising, because we've seen those guys really up inside the top 5, top 7 nearly every race. And I think that's really just a testament to how fast and how hard this XC1 class is pushing right now with what's on the line.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to ask, Johnny. As high speed as some of these field sections are, that's what I at least have been wondering, is whether or not that's got to see why you're not seeing the XC2 able to latch onto the tail end of that XC1 group and start to work their way inside of it as well. Sometimes those guys are battling for overall victories, and so kind of strange, at least to me, to see them this far back.
Well, I think there's a couple things at play there. One, you know, just the sheer intensity we're seeing in that XC1 class, and I think that stems from the fact that so far, all of the top riders in the XC1 that have gotten to the front, nobody's been trying to control the pace. Nobody's been trying to just kind of ride a comfortable pace and let the race come to them. And the guys behind them have not at all been content to just sit back there. We've seen a battle going on for that lead position, those podium positions, those top 5 positions, those top 7, 8 positions all day long. So that's going to just continue to push that pace the way that they're riding. Some courses, when you get to battling, you start block passing, you start taking lines and trying to push each other around. It'll slow you down. But on a course like this, when you're battling, it just makes the pace that much faster. And right now, it seems like the XC2 guys just are not able to match the intensity of that XC1 class.
So watching your leaders on screen, dipping their way through, heading down pro row once again. And we watch the number 17, Josh Strang, closely followed by Stu Baylor and Johnny Gerard. Looks like all those riders checking up just a little bit, grabbing some hydration.
Look what Ricky Towery has in his hand. We knew we had the 2-lap board out, but now it is going to be a white flag waving, meaning only 1 lap of racing standing between one of these men or any of the 5 behind them that could potentially take the win here today. Look at it. What was that? There was a little hand gesture. Don't know exactly what that was. He kind of looked back at scoring, threw his hand up, and then maybe was that at Stu Baylor? Was that at scoring? We've got to speculate and guess and guesstimate. We have no idea, but Josh Strang definitely making very much kind of questioning what exactly is going on here as the white flag comes out. Josh Strang, hand in the air, looking back, saying, hey, what's going on here? So we'll see if we can get a little more information on what that may have been about. But nonetheless, on screen, there's your top 3, literally wheel to wheel. Josh Strang out front, Stu Baylor in second, and Johnny Gerard tucked right behind him there in the number 3 spot.
Yeah, definitely looked like there was some confusion there. You even saw Stu Baylor kind of check over just, I don't know what they were looking at, but clearly some kind of confusion for your leader. Whatever it is, he seems refocused back in and focused forward, as he is trying to shake off the pressure. Josh Strang, not one of those ones that we expect to crack under pressure. He's been there, done that, wily vet, if you will. And so the guy just doesn't seem like one you could shake.
No, definitely looking strong, looking confident, looking solid, working his way around that lapped rider. And Johnny Gerard looking like he's up on the pegs, trying to save a little bit of energy, maybe trying to put himself in position to make a charge here on this last lap. He's been up front throughout the last couple laps, but has not taken the lead. Stu Baylor also has not led today. He's been right there. He's been stalking these guys, and right now sitting in the best position you can be in, other than the lead on the last lap, right there in the second place spot. But Johnny Gerard very close to third. Jordan Ashburn putting a little push and back up close again. Grant Baylor right there. So that is your fourth and fifth place riders. Ricky Russell now on screen in sixth. Things starting to finally sort themselves out just a little bit amongst these top riders. There is Ben Kelly in seventh, and your championship leader as they run now, folks, on his final lap of racing action. Only about 11 miles standing between Craig DeLong and a national championship here in GNCC Racing, running in that number 8th place spot. For those of you at home wondering how can he get 8th and win the championship, coming in here today, Craig DeLong had a points lead large enough that if this man on screen, Stu Baylor, the 514 machine, is able to grab the win, wrestle it away from Josh Strang, he would still only need, Craig DeLong that is, a 13th place overall finish to lock up this title here today. Riding smart, been in touch with this lead group all day, currently running in the number 8 spot. Mikey weighing in with an opinion here, and we're not getting his audio, so we're going to switch his headset. On screen, Josh Strang leading the way. Mikey, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I kind of support the play right here by Craig DeLong in this. Those guys out front have just been, it's looked like lap one gaps and heat from those guys throughout this entire, 2 hours and 20 minutes we're approaching. So Craig DeLong, in my opinion, playing it smart. I don't want to get up there and tangle with you guys. You guys have at it. You want to race win, go get a win. I'm focused on that number 1 plate right now, so I like the play by Craig DeLong here. Love to see him grab a win on a day that he can capture a title, but he's doing the smart thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, playing it smart. He's doing what he needs to do to put himself in a good position. He's got several point buffer still, especially with Stu sitting in that second place spot. Stu is threatening for the lead, which would be an additional 5 points. Still, Craig having give or take about an extra 5 even at that, just with some quick math, if he were to finish in that 8th place spot. So he's got a little bit of room to work with there, and he's actually got quite a big gap back behind him. 1 minute and 39 seconds was what it was at the completion of lap number 4. As we refresh our screen here with 5 laps complete, it's actually now Angus Riordan up into the 9th place spot overall. And going off of a lap's time, it's looking like he is, wow. 2 minutes and near 30 seconds. 2 minutes, 28 seconds is the gap that Craig DeLong has over 9th place in the overall. So not only is he have about 5 points to spare, he's got a 2 minute and 28 second gap over 9th place overall. So I gotta believe that some form of that information has filtered its way back to Craig, and that kind of contributes to his a little bit cautious riding here. Throwing caution to the wind, Josh Strang just splashing the water here at Ironman Hill. Johnny Gerard giving chase, and Stu Baylor in between. These guys, every one of these three, only one objective: grab the win today.
Yeah, go win. And by the way, hey, why not make it a historical season with 8 different winners if Strang can hang on?
Absolutely.
We'll take it.
He saw our number 1 top 5 was 7, and he said, watch this. We're going to add one more highlight to the reel.
And, I mean, he was the guy earlier. You guys can attest to that we were like, okay, Josh, it's your turn. He's like, I'll try, It's not like he's not trying. he's working his tail off. But really cool to see him out front. And you knew Strang was going to be here at the end, Johnny. You've been watching him for years, and he's that guy, kind of like that Stu Baylor diesel. Takes him a little bit to get warmed up here at the 17th year in his professional career, but once he does, man, he is a threat. And when he was up there in the fight early in this one, I thought Strang's going to be a contender for a win today.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially as strong as he came on 2 weeks ago there at the Buckwheat GNCC. I mean, out of nowhere. We weren't even talking about him. And on the last lap, we're like, oh, look at this lapper on the green. And he was there all day. Not that he wasn't. But he was kind of just hanging back there, 5th, 6th, 7th. And next thing we know, he's up battling, making passes. And we're like, hey, he's battling for a podium. and ending up putting pressure on the number 2 spot of Ricky Russell coming to the finish there and almost taking that spot away. Look at this. Josh Strang has opened up a gap, folks. That is the biggest lead we have seen in quite some time. Stu Baylor, there was a lapped rider in there, so that may have come into play. But looking like Jordan Ashburn now has made up some ground almost to the rear tire of Johnny Gerard. So he's wanting to make it a 4-rider battle for the win here today. Tripping over my tongue. Zach Heron, do you have audio over there? You want to go ahead and correct me?
Ha, you messed it up once again. No, I'm just kidding. I'm back. I'm back.
Zach's back, and we got all 3 of us here in the booth calling. Jackson Burrell out getting ready for some post-race interviews to bring you the perspective from these guys that have been out here laying it on the line. But right now, laying it down. The freight train is just putting all the coal to it, laying the steam, and he is roosting his competition and running away on that Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki. Absolutely awesome to see. Josh Strang, 35 years old, we're told, out there, looking like he may grab a win here today. He's got just a couple miles of racing left standing between him and a checkered flag waving. We'll point out, even at 35, that's pretty old to grab a win. Wouldn't be the oldest rider to grab a GNCC win. Rodney Smith, I believe, won some races at 40. But still, Josh Strang well into his career and saying he wants to race a few more races. Kind of word on the street. Don't want to speak for Josh.
Sure.
He's looking, shopping around. Don't believe he will be back with that team next year, from what I'm hearing. Not speaking for him, just on what. Look at that. Hops over that log on the way out. Great line there. Stu Baylor doing the same. But, hey, man, whether it's re-signing with the Monster Energy Babbitt's Online Kawasaki team or putting himself on the open market, no better way to kind of boost your value a little bit than closing out the season with a win.
Well, and I can't help but wonder, we saw the look back from Strang as he came across the line. Maybe he didn't see the 2-lap card that came around. I was wondering that, too. He has absolutely started to pull away. It's almost like he was kind of had that reserve tank for those last 2 laps. He turned around and said, oh, that's the white flag. I've got to dump it now. And now we're starting to see the number 17 wheel away from the rest of the competition.
Well, and it would be easy to understand. I mean, as closely as these guys are battling 7 riders 2 laps ago, or last lap when they came through and got the 2-lap card, it would be easy to miss that. I mean, you're looking at the guy in front of you, you're taking a look back at the guy behind you. You got the blinders on. You're not looking for things like that. So unless the team told him, but a white flag is pretty hard to miss when it's waving in your face. So maybe, like you said, just a wake-up call for him saying, oh my goodness, this is the last lap. Leave nothing on the table, and that's exactly what he's doing right now.
He's all in the mail. Are we sure this is 35-year-old Strang and not 25-year-old Josh Strang?
Hey, man, 35's the new 15, and he's proven it today. I mean, he is full of just absolutely full of energy, full of enthusiasm, and that throttle hand is just absolutely wicked right now. He is pulling away ever so slightly from Stu Baylor, who now, as he's pushing it, trying to reel Josh Strang in, is starting to pull out just a little bit on the 969 of Johnny Gerard.
Yeah, man, I got to think Stu in his head right now is like, what is the old guy doing up front there? He is running away from me. Well, hey, the general that is Josh Strang doing work out in front, trying to make it 8 different winners. Oh, we got to pass
Grant Baylor putting the moves on Jordan Ashburn as they go into the woods. Folks, we may almost be done with this one, but the action is still hot and heavy here.
Plenty of action left. We'll be right back with more from the Yamaha Racing Ironman GNCC.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider is just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone, or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires. delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Every race, every day, in every way. Print, social, digital, video, photo. Every race, every day. Every result, every story, every rider, everything. Moto every day with Racer X.
GNCC Racing on Racer TV is brought to you by Progressive. You can save hundreds on your car insurance. Specialized turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. Welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com, baby. Was that Crawfordsville, Indiana? We were overlooking right there. I didn't know.
That was heaven.
Wow. Hey, my hometown looks pretty good from a bird's eye view. We're flat out here, but that's okay. Going to take a look at the GNCC EMTB highlights, their season finale. Some big names in the XC1. Some big names moving up into the XC1 as well. Ricky Towery, so methodical down there. He's like a Timex. Just reliable. Cypress Corey and the boys of the XC1 class going to battle. Cypress Corey checking up a little bit right there and says, that's okay, I'll get in the fight here in a moment. And Talon Hawk, Barry Hawk's son, joining the XC1 ranks here this weekend. Kind of cool. And I got to say, Johnny, you've raced some EMTBs, man. Give us your thoughts on it. Like, what's it like?
It's just absolutely great. It's the only form of racing where you can get out there and actually kind of heckle your competition or have a conversation with them along the way. The fans are awesome. The courses have just been absolutely epic. And this is one, I missed this one, expecting it to be kind of a mutter, but as the conditions improved throughout the race, I realized, made a poor decision. Yeah. But so many activities going on this weekend, just didn't have time. But, man, it's absolutely a ton of fun. If you have an e-bike, if you don't have an e-bike, you can come out. We got Specialized here. Yeah. A number of other e-bike brands that also are here. You can purchase and you can get out there and try your luck. It's so much fun. We've seen crossover athletes come from the bicycle world. We've seen girlfriends, wives, brothers, parents, racers themselves get out there and give it a go. But the professionals, absolutely professional. And Cypress Corey getting it done with the big one. Win your 2023 EMTB champion and capping off exactly why that is here today with yet another win. Speaking of the win, the battle for the win in today's race on screen, Josh Strang throwing everything he has at it in the Monster Mile, leading the way on the number 17. Stu Baylor has closed the gap, and right there, Johnny Gerard as well. 3 riders all throwing their hat in the ring on this one, Mikey.
Hey, we talked about the champ Cypress Gorey and a former champ in Josh Strang leading the way here. We just got a glance there of Grant Baylor, the Grizzly, the incredible pass by him as we just went into commercial break. And Stu applying pressure.
All of the pressure. Absolutely all of it. All over the rear wheel of Josh Strang. But Josh Strang, a rider that is not going to be shaken by that. Looking back, there's the 314 of Grant Baylor sitting in the number 4 spot. Just behind him should be the number 1 of Jordan Ashburn. Oh, Ricky Russell now is up into the number 5 spot. Jordan Ashburn slipping back to 6th. Then it should be the training teammates of Ben Kelly in 7th and Craig DeLong in 8th coming up. There is Kelly in the number 7 spot. Don't see Craig DeLong yet, but we do believe if we hold on this camera shot for just a minute, we may be looking at on screen the 342 Rockstar Energy Racing Husqvarna working his way mile by mile, turn by turn, potentially towards a 2023 XC1 and overall GNCC championship. There he is on screen. You could definitely tell riding with a lot of caution right now, not wanting to do anything to give up his shot, which is looking more and more sure as each mile marker clicks off.
Yeah, looking good out there. Craig definitely just in that, hey, let me hit my marks. Let me keep it on 2 wheels and methodically get around any lap traffic and bring it home.
Mikey, you can speculate all you want as to, leaders on screen. Leading the way, the number 17, Josh Strang, hard on the binders, Stu Baylor right through the rough stuff, trying to gain every inch that he can, looking like they've opened up just a tiny little bit over the 969 of Johnny Gerard, but those three still very much wheel to wheel and battling this thing out. We'll watch him pop out one more time. Strang has just been in control of this for about the last 2.5 laps and not giving anyone a chance to really show him a wheel.
Yeah, Strang doing a good job. And, I mean, talk about a guy that's going to be difficult to pass late. I know it's Stu Baylor, but, boy, Josh Strang, the old Wiley veteran, he knows all the tricks. And I think he knows Stu well. He's going to do a good job at some defensive riding here to try and keep him at bay.
Oh, look at this. Grant Baylor putting a charge on now, starting to get a little bit closer to Johnny Gerard, wanting to potentially wrestle away that final podium position. You know, again, everybody wanting a chance to get up on the podium, thank their sponsors, and a little bit of momentum going into the offseason before the 24 season gets rolling. Stu Baylor with an inside line. Man, that was a dangerous one. Josh Strang running around the outside, but Stu Baylor almost able to tuck it in right there on the inside here in the Monster Mile.
Still great racing. Johnny, I can't believe this. I mean, some of these gaps that still looks at this point like lap number 1 or a lap number 2 where these guys are so tight down through 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah.
6th, really.
Yeah, we've got really 6 riders kind of all still in the mix for this. I mean, anything can happen. Getting into lap traffic, you know, a one wrong line choice, stalling. There is Jordan Ashburn there in 6th, and now Ben Kelly starting to make up some ground there on him, wanting to wrestle away the number 6 spot. Up in the mix early today, but not quite able to match the pace of the riders in front of him. We'll hold this camera shot if we can. We'll wait just a few moments, and we'll see the 342 Rockstar Energy Racing Husqvarna, and there he is on screen, looking more and more likely as we're getting just a few miles to go. May very possibly be slapping the coveted number 1 plate on that machine for a podium celebration and a well-earned national championship. Can't say enough about this young man. Methodical, just doing it the right way, inch by inch, not just a flash in the pan out of nowhere winning a race. I mean, just little by little getting almost painfully slow progress, but once he gets there, he makes it stick, and it's paid off this year in what's looking like it will be a national championship for Craig DeLong.
That's it, and you know what? You did a good job painting the story there for Craig, and we watched him come up through those ranks, the XC2 championship, which if I'm not mistaken, I believe he clinched here at the Ironman a few years back. He was, at the time, back in the day on that Coastal Racing Husqvarna, got the call up to the Rockstar Energy Factory team. They said, hey, we need a rider. We got to get some points this season, and that was a lot on his shoulders, on a very young man's shoulders as well, and I think he's answered it almost to in Craig's way, in Craig's perfection, I guess. Just kind of chipping away, learning the system, and clicking off, at least to date, well, the 3 wins this season have been huge for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Not having a win coming into this season, all 3 of them coming this season, and potentially, you know, walking away with a championship. To say a guy that had never won a race coming into the season, we saw it last year with Jordan Ashburn. Same thing, though, getting his first win and going on to win the national championship. So maybe it's the new thing. You know, when riders come into their own, they kind of do it all at once, and next thing you know, it clicks, and they just become unbeatable, and that's what it seems to be for Craig DeLong. Obviously, not really vying for a race win here today. We saw him up in the mix early, definitely leading, grabbing the whole shot, leading for a bit before being overtaken by Jordan Ashburn, but doing the smart thing here and just saying, look, I need a 13. You know, he's got some points padding. He's got a big gap over 9th place in the overall, running in 8th, and I think, I really truly believe at this point the nerves maybe have gotten to him, and he's just saying, no chances. Let's not risk anything. Let's get this thing to the finish line. Let's collect that title, and let's celebrate.
Yeah, he'll have the pearly whites out at the end of this one, I'm sure. He'll be smiling ear to ear.
On screen.
No doubt. Look at this battle.
Here is the battle. Now they've tightened up again, and it's 3 riders. They've pulled back away a little bit from Grant Baylor, but he is still there in the background. Ricky Russell there as well. So 5 riders still with a chance at this. Jordan Ashburn falling off the back just a little bit in 6th, looking like he's going to be out of the mix here for a podium today. 10-mile marker, Mikey. We are counting him down, and the battle is headed this way. Looks like we see him on screen with some lap riders in the mix. This could get dicey.
Oh, boy. Strang up and over the bridge. There goes Stu in hot pursuit. Oh, the lapper jumps out. Stu has to check up a bit, but gets around him.
Man, that is so sketchy when you start getting this late in. You're pushing, you can't afford to give up a bike length, and lapped riders in the mix, and you can see it open up just a little bit of a gap there between the number one ride of Josh Strang and the number 2 ride of Stu Baylor, and now Johnny Gerard putting heavy pressure on Stu Baylor for that second place position.
Yeah, Gerard, he picked up a win here on this property earlier this season at the Hoosier GNCC, so he knows this terrain, this track well. Johnny's always done well in Indiana.
This is the story on screen is the XC2 battle for the championship. Yes. Angus Riordan there leading the way. We do see Liam Draper coming. They're pointing to his head saying, hey, think, ride smart. Liam at this point doing what he needs to do to bring home that title, and we'll follow this one all the way to the checkers and see how it pans out.
That's another one, almost a similar storyline of Craig. Like, Liam's been working at this XC2 title for a long time. It was the XC3 title he wanted, now the XC2, and there's been some ups and downs, and I think fitting that he was involved in one of our top 5 moments that passed by Mike Wachowski. And as frustrating as it was at the moment for Liam Draper to lose that race here on this property earlier this season, it awoken something in Liam Draper, and he's been a different man since then, a man certainly focused on wrapping up this title.
Absolutely, and sometimes it takes a moment like that, to work so hard, to come so close, and when it's easy, you don't value it as much, and it definitely has been anything but easy for Liam Draper. He's worked so hard. I actually had the opportunity to speak with his dad last night, and he said, hey, thank you guys at Racer TV so much. We wake up at 5 in the morning on Monday morning, and a couple of buddies, we sit in the shop, we watch it on the big TV, and I watch my boy race. As soon as I knew he had a chance at the title, I had no choice. I booked a flight. I flew over here. I had to see it in person. But, it's been a long road. 6 years here in the United States, chasing this dream, chasing this title, chasing a win even, and now to be in the position to bring home the greatest win of all in that XC2, the overall national, or the XC2 national championship. Just what an accomplishment, and such a nice young man.
Yeah, Liam's stellar.
Waiting and watching on screen. We're waiting for the number 17. Monster Energy, Babbitt's Online, Kawasaki. Big win for these guys. It would be, if they can get it done today, it would be their second win of the season, already having got one with Grant Baylor early in the year. But, this is the one everybody comes to. All the sponsors are here, all the brass from the OEMs, from the energy drink sponsors, everybody's here. And what a way to show those guys, hey, 35 years old, I still got some gas left in the tank. Sign me up. Let's go racing in 2024. And no better way to do that than crossing the finish line first with heavy pressure from a guy who's very much in the thick of this title fight in Stu Baylor. But Josh Strang holding it down right now. Stu Baylor still trying those outsides. He's trying those insides. He's doing everything he can to try to make a run. Grant Baylor looking like he may have made up a little ground. Don't know that he's quite close enough to Johnny yet to make a play for that final podium position. But he's getting inch by inch closer each camera shot.
Strang holding off. Oh, cuts up into the inside right there by Josh Strang. And Baylor goes back to work, and we duck back into the woods. See if Baylor can get back up on that rear wheel and around him. But Strang doing a fantastic job. He's making that bike look wide with Stu behind him.
He's making it look wide, but he's flowing his own lines. It's not like he's shutting down the insides and blocking Stu. He's just running a pace that's fast enough that even when Stu makes a run, Josh is able to carry his momentum, and it really hasn't turned into a game of block passing yet. Now, we're getting closer to the finish. All bets are off. Stu knows, again, not only wanting to get the win just for pride, for max points, everything, championship on the line, it could potentially start to escalate. He might start trying to run up those insides and actually take Josh Strang's line away. We'll keep an eye. And, man, those final chicanes, we saw an absolute battle through there yesterday. Expect that we might see more of that here coming up in just a few moments.
Ready for it. Let's see a wild finish to close out the year.
Josh Strang, left of screen here. There he is.
Oh, yeah, peeking in.
He's coming behind our leaderboard there, and Stu Baylor running it up, still right behind him there. Not close enough to make a move, but we do know there's 2 lapped riders on screen there in front of him, and Josh Strang is probably thinking in his mind, hey, man, come on, give me a shot. Let me get through here. I got a guy behind me that wants to take this win away, but I need to take this win home for myself, for my team, for my confidence. He is doing a great job right now.
Yeah, certainly has more lap traffic up ahead of them. This thing might get real interesting here late.
Oh, look at all these lap riders.
Oh, it is a circus down there. Oh, my goodness.
There's Strang, there's Baylor, there's Girard, and now Grant Baylor in the mix. He has made up that distance. Ricky Russell there as well. Look at this. We've got 5 riders basically wheel to wheel mixed in with lap traffic coming to the finish line, folks. This is the final mile of racing. We've got one more start down the auxiliary pits, and then we're going to come through the the GBC Tires pit stop area one last time, and we're going to see a battle amongst 5 riders. On screen, Johnny Girard now pressuring Stu Baylor for second. Stu Baylor trying to close the gap to Josh Strang for the lead. Lap rider in the mix, and Grant Baylor pushing from behind, trying to put himself in position to take a podium position.
Wow, just when we thought Baylor was going to be on that rear wheel of Strang, it's Johnny Girard all over the rear wheel of Baylor looking to make a pass for second. Mercy, these guys are hauling the mail through there right now.
I can tell you Josh Strang likely just ringing that machine wide open, trying to blow the exhaust off it to make as much noise as possible to get these lap riders out of the way. Now Stu Baylor back up to the rear wheel, coming in through the GBC Tires pit stop area. This is it. There will be no stops, no goggles, no gas, no water bottle. About 3 turns to go, and we're going to see a checkered flag waving and 3 riders all battling it out. Lap rider trying to get out of the way, almost going down. Watch this through the chicanes, folks.
Here we go. Josh Strang trying to set it up. His first win of the season, and he'll be the 8th winner of the year if he can hang on right here. Oh, pressure coming from Girard on Baylor. But there it is, Johnny Gallagher. How about it for Josh Strang capturing the win here today?
Oh, man. My heart rate's like 205, and I wasn't even out there. He's holding that thing on the rev limiter. That is a happy, happy man. Congratulations, Josh Strang. Unbelievable performance today. Stu Baylor crossing the line in second, leaving nothing on the table, giving everything he had. But Cameron Strang coming over, giving him a big hug. Those two have been on this journey quite some time, and it's been quite some time since Josh Strang got a win, but he got it done here today at the Ironman GNCC, and that is a happy, happy racer right there, folks.
Cam's also pretty happy. That's good. That's good. Well, hey, we're keeping our eyes out for the man that we anticipate on being our champion, Craig DeLong. Just needs a 13th or better.
Grant Baylor is in. Ricky Russell is in. We should be waiting on Ben Kelly. There he is coming through. That is your 7th place rider. The next rider through, folks, watch for the champagne bottles. Watch for the 342 machine. Craig DeLong coming through the final corners here. Any moment will be bringing home, if he's able to cross the line in that 8th place spot. It will leave no question, no math need be done. We're looking, we're waiting. There he is, folks, coming across the line. Craig DeLong is your 2023 GNCC National Champion.
Holy smokes. There's the confetti. There's the team.
What a feeling. This guy has got to be just absolutely overcome with emotion right now. This has been such a long road. Craig has been racing GNCC so many years, working his way up through the ranks, starting out as an amateur rider, and just was never that standout next big thing, flash in the pan, sure thing. He just worked hard, kept grinding, step by step, position by position, class by class. A lot of people saying, I don't think Craig's going to have the stuff to make it an XC1 despite being an XC2 champion. Today, he proves every one of those pundits wrong, winning the national championship in the largest off-road racing series in the United States of America. Craig DeLong is your series champion for 2023.
I'm blown away, Johnny. And you know what? You're right. I mean, you look back at even the XC2 days. Early in those days, it was all a lot of talk about Ben Kelly, a lot of talk about Josh Toth in those days as well. And you know what? Craig DeLong, he's kind of a quiet guy until you really get to know him, and then it's a little different. But yeah, I mean, quiet and almost shy at times, but he's a monster out there on the track.
He has become the silent assassin in 2023. Saw it so much at that race just about 5 weeks ago at the Mountaineer GNCC. He said he had an opportunity in the final turns to take, when we say take a shot, folks, it's not a matter of taking someone down. He could have made an aggressive pass on Stu Baylor. He said, I questioned myself. I didn't do it. I settled for second. And since then, we have seen an entirely different Craig DeLong. Came out absolutely on a mission 2 weeks ago, grabbed the win, and with it, and with some misfortune for Stu Baylor, put himself in a position where he was all but assured a championship here this weekend. Just needed to get it to the finish line inside the top 13 overall. Doing that and more. Stu Baylor finishing second. Craig DeLong in 8th place spot in the overall. Obviously, as riders check in, we will confirm that, but he had a big gap over 9th place. That is enough. It gets it done. He wins the championship.
That's awesome, man. Stoked for you, Craig. Congratulations to you. Hey, another champ yet to be crowned. Waiting on Liam Draper to check in. And I'm thinking that maybe all these blue Yamaha shirts
we saw the celebration
on
of
the 198.
the Rockstar Racing Husky team. Looks like the Ampro Yamaha team preparing their celebration as well. Waiting, watching, looking at the tent, waiting for the 198. Last we saw, it was Angus Riordan leading the way in that XC2 battle for the win. But Liam Draper just sitting back there stalking, knowing all he needs to do is cross the finish line at this point, running in that second place spot. It will lock up the title, and likely don't expect to see him make a hero's charge in the last couple miles.
All right, folks. Well, as we wait on Liam Draper to check in through the finish line, we have a new champion in 2023. And for a special little presentation, let's take a look at what it took to get Craig DeLong here. The 2023 season of GNCC will go down in the history books as one of the most unique seasons we've ever had. 7 rounds of racing, 7 different winners. And while that was the topic of conversation, there was another conversation looming, and that was who's going to be the first rider with 2 wins this season. Will it be enough for a championship? Craig DeLong answered that in round number 8 with his second win, an impressive win in dusty conditions, whereas his first win of the season down in Georgia was one of the rainiest, gnarliest, muddiest GNCCs in recent memory. But he didn't stop there. Another win in round number 11, a win that he needed. He had to beat Stu Baylor if he wanted to carry the points lead into the Ironman GNCC, and he did just that. The Rockstar Energy Husqvarna ride of Craig DeLong has come a long way. Called up to the ranks, steady has been his career to get him to this point, chipping away a podium contender, and then a win contender, and then a title contender. And here we are at the end of 2023, crowning Craig DeLong on his Rockstar Energy Husqvarna as your 2023 Grand National Cross Country overall bike national champion. Congratulations. Woo! Good job,
Chills,
Craig.
baby.
Yeah,
Chills.
That was good. That was good. Awesome to see him. And hey, let's get the word from the man himself. We'll throw it down to Zach Herron with our national champion, Craig DeLong.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has kept us waiting 12 rounds, brought it all the way down to the wire, and man, you did exactly what you needed to do. You are the champion here at 23.
Sounds pretty damn good, honestly. Yeah, I mean, the race, I wanted to come out and win, and I just I got out front there, and I just didn't feel like I really wanted to go that fast, honestly. Those guys were going fast, and I kind of just managed it, and then, yeah, man, what a year, and kind of speechless.
I can only imagine, man. You're the only rider to get 3 wins this season. You put points on the board at every single round. Talk about how difficult it was, the consistency, what it took to get this thing done.
I mean, honestly, at the beginning of the year, I mean, obviously everybody's like, yeah, you're going to win a championship. But my goal was to win a race. You know, obviously that was the biggest goal, was to win a championship. But I never believed that until, you know, I got that first win. I was up front, and I had to, you know, change my goals. And, man, it was just a new maturity that I needed to learn. And, man, I'm just a loss of words. Sorry about that.
No, man. Don't apologize about anything. You've been working so hard. I know you got some great people backing you up, though. Who need to thank for getting you the #1 plate?
I got to thank my whole family, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend, Gary, all my friends and family came out. Man, it means a lot. And the whole Rockstar Husky team, man, we worked hard this summer, and we got my bike working a lot better. And I think it showed the last 3 races other than today. And it played a big part, I think, and I got to owe it to them guys. They worked their butts off, and it showed. So a huge thank you to them guys.
There you go. A huge congratulations. That is your champion, Craig DeLong, getting the job done.
Good job, Craig.
Man, what an emotional one that is. Craig DeLong, a long journey to get here, standing atop the heap, the #1 rider. 2023. Craig DeLong, no one can ever take it away. You are a GNCC overall national champion.
It's crazy just to see how it came about this season. And you know, like Zach mentioned it down there, you know, you're one of the only guys, if not the only guy, I'd have to double check, but that came away with points every single round this season. Johnny's taking a look at our scoring computer. Has Liam checked in?
I believe we heard the revving.
I did hear some.
I'm just confirming on the scoring computer, see if we can get it in fact, but we believe Liam Draper has crossed the finish line. He has 6 laps complete, 22 seconds behind. Congratulations, Angus Riordan, on the win here today. Liam Draper rounding out the second place position and enough to absolutely clinch, beyond question of the doubt, the 2023 XC2 250 Pro GNCC Championship. Grant Davis there in the number 3 spot. And look at this. Zach Herondon with the man of the day. Hey. Look, it's got to be the mustache.
It is.
Josh Strang getting the job done today. Looking like he rolled the clock back about 15 years, 20-year-old Josh Strang. But here he is with the win today, Josh Strang.
All right, Josh Strang, I must ask you a question there. Johnny's been pumping it up all day long. What did it take, man? This has just been a resurgence. The 17 has come out swinging. How you feeling, man? You get the win.
I mean, I haven't done anything different like this all year, and you know, you put positive people in your group and believe in yourself and work hard, and you can. And this is what the result is, and it's unfortunate that it's taken this long to get back to where I knew I could be, but you know, that's what it is. And it was a good day, man. There was 8 of us, like within 15 seconds or something all day. So yeah, that last lap, it was 20-20 with Stu and I. And I was like, man, if he passes me, it's whatever. Man, I couldn't go any faster, so I was going as fast as I could. There was a couple of lines where he almost passed me the lap before, so I had to remember those and take those, so he couldn't take them and pass me. And I mean, he didn't even really get a chance to pass me on that last lap. So it was, man, it feels good. I mean, I wanted this win a long time ago, but to get it at the last round is good.
Now, we saw when you guys came around and you took the white flag, we saw a look over the shoulder, even a hand up in there. What was the confusion there? What was going on?
No, I was just telling Stu to come on. You know, it's Stu is a guy who likes to have a good time, and I'm sure he had fun racing. And like I said, regardless of the result there today, I rode it as good as I could. So if it was a first, second, or third, you know, I would have been happy. And so I was just telling him to come on, let's go. And I mean, I'm happy he didn't pass me for sure, but I just wanted to have fun that last lap. Last race of the year, so yeah, like I said, just wanted to have a good time and egg him on a little.
Looking good, man. You were clearly having fun out there, looking like the Josh Strang of old. How nice is it to end this season on a high note with a win?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good, man. Enough said there. That is your XC1 winner for the day, Josh Strang, back on top.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Mikey, the man of the day, Josh Strang, but I got to say,
sure,
there's a tone of inflection there that tells me happy to win today, but also feeling like he left something on the table for 2023, and that's a dangerous Josh Strang moving forward. Anytime you have a former champion who's won as many races, you pointed out, tying Fred Andrews on the overall wins list today, that is a dangerous man coming into 2024. Another dangerous man coming into 2024, and a dangerous man to any Baylor heavies that may be around the facility tonight. Stu Baylor, absolutely phenomenal ride today. He's down with Jackson Burrell.
All right, guys. Yeah, thanks. I'm down here with Stu. Stu, coming into today, we knew you had the 22-point deficit. All you could do is come in here and try to win. That's exactly what you did. Got a second place here today. Take us through today and your thoughts.
Yeah, it was, you know, I said it a couple weeks ago. All I got to do to leave this season knowing I did everything I could is top 2, and did that. Would have loved to get the win, but hey, the old dog's got a few tricks. Everywhere I moved, he knew I was coming, and you know, that it was fun racing between he and myself and Johnny. Man, those last couple laps, like the only thing that made the difference was the lappers. But yeah, as far as the day went, I had a little injury a couple weeks ago, right after the last round, and just been nursing that a little bit. But knew I was going to be feeling it, but man, you can dig deep when it's times like that. And midway through the race, I lost a couple positions. I was like, we can't be doing that. Knew Craig was behind me, and man, anything can happen. So all I could do was put my head down and do what we could. But man, so I'm starting to run out of maybe next year's.
Well, Stu, that's what I was going to ask next. What can we expect going into 2024?
Pretty much, I'm going to be a bad son of a bitch. You better look out.
All right, guys, you heard it. That's your second place, Stu Baylor.
Well, hey, Stu's going to be Stu, Johnny. He's, the guy's got no quit in him. Interesting comment there, though, toward the end, running out of maybe next year's. And he's not wrong. I mean, that's just the trajectory of a professional athlete's career.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a shelf life for sure of a professional athlete, but I think you'd have to be an absolute idiot to bet against Stu Baylor ever. And honestly, maybe the most dangerous thing is him realizing I'm running out of maybe next year's, because it's always kind of been, well, there's always next year. Not just with Stu, with anyone.
Oh, for sure.
And, with him saying, hey, maybe I'm running out of maybe next year's, we may see a refocused, re-energized Stu Baylor for 2024, but he put on a heck of a charge today, no question about that.
And looks like Jackson Burrell stands by with Johnny Girard.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with our third place. Johnny, you pushed hard today. You came out of here with a third place. Man, take us through today.
Yeah, it was good. It was a trail ride, basically. It was like 8 or 10 of us together. But, we started pushing after the pit stop and found myself in podium position. And then, I followed Strang for a lap, and then Stu got in there. And me and Stu went back and forth a couple times. It was good, hard racing and fast track, and just hard to make up ground. Everyone was really close. So it was a good day of racing, good way to end the year on the box, and already looking forward to next year.
Johnny, I'll ask you the same question. What can we expect in 2024?
I'm going to be hungry, I'll tell you that.
All right, guys, that's your third spot, Johnny Girard.
Johnny Girard. I'm excited to see 2024 Johnny Girard, Johnny G.
Imposter Johnny G.
There you go. Just as a healthy Johnny Girard to see what he's capable of in that XC1 class.
Yeah, and in his sophomore season, this being his rookie season, he definitely had some good races, got some podiums, got a win.
Yeah.
So definitely check the boxes, and I think we'll see him refocused and really probably trying to gun for a championship in 2024.
Yeah. Gotta think so. Well, we're on a holding pattern right now. We're looking for the 198, or should I say the number 1 of Liam Draper, as he has wrapped up that XC2 title. And obviously, we want to get a word in with Liam. And I forgot to throw it out there. Hey, Strang, we want to see a shoey on the podium. And Liam Draper, why not?
Stop. I don't want to see a
Okay,
shoey.
well, I do.
Those are disgusting.
They are nasty.
Hey, if that's how they want to celebrate, on them, but I'm not calling for it. That is a vile, disgusting thing. You've just raced in that boot for 2 hours, and we'll find out if this guy's going to do one as well.
All right, guys, no question about it. He had me waiting. I was a little early at the last round. You corrected me. No question about it now. You are the XC2 champion. Liam Draper, man, what a race it was. It was a barn burner in the XC2 as well. What was your last round like?
Yeah, it was a stressful day, I think. I overthought it way too much and didn't ride that great, but Gus, man, he rode his heart out, and credit to him. He did what he needed to do, and I followed him today and brought this thing home, and I'm pretty stoked.
You talk about how stressful it is, not only physically but mentally as well. What was the mindset all weekend long? What were you doing to try to keep yourself calm and collected?
Just treat it like another race. Just come in thinking it was just another day at the office, really, and not to think too much about this championship. But you're always going to think about it when it comes down to it.
Well, Liam, it's been a long time coming, man. You've put in a ton of hard work, but I know you got great people helping you out. Who do you need to thank?
Yeah, massive thank you to this whole Wayne Pro Yamaha team for giving me this opportunity. My fiance, her 2 boys, they're the world to me. My dad for flying over. My fiance's family, Goon Speedy, thank you. The Morris family. My mechanic, I think he was more stressed out than what I was this weekend. Carry Resources, Gary, thank you very much for all you do. And my other buddy, Sparrow, for coming over from New Zealand.
There you go, guys. That is your XC2 champion, Liam Draper, getting the job done here at Ironman.
Liam, not a very emotional guy. You can tell he's kind of overwhelmed at the moment.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling sometime here in the coming minutes, days, weeks, whatever it may
It'll
be,
sink in.
Liam Draper is going to realize what he's just done and what an accomplishment that is. 6 years here from New Zealand, a long way to travel, both figuratively and literally, and he has come right to where he needs to be, your XC2 national champion.
I love it. I love it. We crowned some champions today. Taking a look at those top 10 results. How about it? 8 different winners in 2023. Josh Strang adding his name to the list, turning back the clock. Stu Baylor third, and Johnny Girard rounding out your top 3. And, of course, Craig along with an 8th OA. That'll be enough for him to be our national champion in the overall.
Mikey, before we throw this thing away, I only got one thing to say.
Boy.
Can we just bring on 2024?
Dude, I'm
the racing action we saw today. Let's not stop. Let's line them up.
Yep.
Let's head to Big Buck next weekend.
I'm in.
And let's just keep it rolling.
I'm in. We're heading for Big Buck next weekend. Tune in. I'm kidding. We'll wait till February of next year, late February. Keep your eyes peeled. I believe Tim Cotter said earlier today that schedule should be coming out soon. That's going to wrap us up. Man, on behalf of Jackson Burrows, Zach Heron, Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, Adam, Matt, Josh, Mike, Leah, and Kirsten, our drone pilot, Gabe, our spotter, Hollywood, our EIC, that is Jordan McFadden, our director, Griff Cotter. Thank you, Griff. And, hey, by the way, he's getting married in a couple of weeks. Our
I think
producer,
next weekend.
I think 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I hope. Or my schedule's off.
That's what I get for thinking.
Producer Adam Gordon and our executive producer, Carrie Russell. Also going to give a shout-out to Dan Reinhardt. That's going to wrap things up for 2023. I'm Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.